points per game last season.
And that's why the Hilltoppers elected to receive, because they know how explosive their offense is.
And here comes the kickoff, and Eastern Kentucky going with an onside kick, but it's corralled at the 50. So the Hilltoppers with excellent position to start this game off, as it was brought in by Quinn Jernigan, starting receiver for the Hilltoppers.
Jernigan, one of about 8 or 9 guys that you're going to see for Western Kentucky at the receiver position, but high points the ball, able to hold on tightly, and Western Kentucky now has fantastic field position to start the season.
Let's look at the starting lineup for the Hilltoppers on the line. Jimmy Sims, Brandon Ray, Dennis Edwards, Miles Pate, and Matt Nord. Wide receivers, Nicarius Fant, Quinn Jernigan, and Lucky Jackson. The tight end is Dion Yoder. The running back, DeAndre Furby. And the quarterback is Mike White. He starts out under center here with Furby, the single back behind him. He'll hand it off, and Furby trying to get between the tackles, and he'll pick up a couple yards on the first carry.
DeAndre Furby was out for the entire 2016 season after his first carry in 2016 due to a shoulder injury. And how about this? The Hilltoppers start under center, something that you wouldn't see a lot under Coach Jeff Braun the last few years.
But certainly not. White steps back out into the gun. 3 receivers on the right side. See there White's numbers from last season. 37 touchdowns, just 7 interceptions last season. Now the receivers shift over to the left-hand side. And here comes the snap. White looking for the screen pass. Caught. And looking to drive it up the field. In a few yards on the play. Towner on the reception.
And Towner really at the class in the return game, but he's going to have a much bigger impact at the receiver position this year. Do you see all the motion that Western Kentucky did on only the second play of the game? This team is really heavily invested in their new offensive playbook.
Makes it 3rd down. About 5 to gain here. Here comes a snap from the 45. White up the middle, through the hands of Nicarius Fant, and it will fall incomplete, bringing up 4th down on the Colonel 45.
Nicarius Fant, another guy that was been coming off an injury, but a big senior for this team. He's going to have a lot of production for the Hilltoppers, but a quick 3 and out after some very good field position. Not what you wanted to see for the Hilltoppers to start.
So Jake Collins will come on to punt for Western Kentucky. Back to receive for the Colonels. Looks like it's Daryl McCleskey. Here comes the snap, clean snap, and the punt is away, and it's going over towards the right. Right down the middle. Taking a Hilltopper bounce inside the 5, and will be touchdown at the 4. So if the Toppers aren't able to move it on the first possession, they will try to pin Eastern Kentucky deep in their own territory to get things underway.
Yeah, Jake Collins, a class punter for Western Kentucky these last 2 years, was on the Conference USA second team last year, and a guy who was 3rd best in WKU history with 42.7 yards per punt. Pins them back there, and now this WKU defense with a lot of hype. They're not missing too many players from a year before. They got some good starting field position.
Let's take a look at the starting offense for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. Cameron Kowalewski, DeJour Simpson, Kagan Skidmore, Chance Edwards, and Deshaun Sider on the line. Get you the rest of it after this play. They'll hand it off up the middle, and the Hilltoppers swallow it up right away. A loss of a yard on the carry. The rest of the offense for Eastern Kentucky: Nico Creamer, Ryan Marcouche, and Alex Cabrera. The wide receivers, the tight end is Dan Paul, running back L.J. Scott, and the quarterback Tim Boyle.
L.J. Scott, a guy coming from the University of Louisville, didn't play there much, and like the FCS transfer route, is trying to look for some more playing time.
2nd and 10. Here comes a snap. They'll hand it off again to L.J. Scott, running up the middle. He'll gain a couple on this one. You can already see some of those linemen going at each other. You can tell, even though it's been 8 years since these two programs have played each other, that they don't like each other that much.
Well, it really starts on the defensive line with Chris Johnson, a 285, 6'1" senior, voted 2017 CUSA preseason first team. He wreaked havoc on opposing offenses last year, and he is the heart and soul of the Hilltopper defense.
3rd and 7. Ball on the 7-yard line in between the hash marks. 2 receivers Up there at the top of your screen, here comes a snap looking towards the right side, completion, and it will be a first down for Eastern Kentucky across the 20-yard line. Catch made by Nico Creamer.
Able to get a step ahead of Joe Brown for that slant play, and the Hilltoppers missing DeAndre Simmons for the season to an injury at one of their starting corners, and you see the impact of there already as a Hilltopper is kind of escorted off the field here.
Hilltopper defense looks like this. Derek Overstreet, Evan Sainer, Chris Johnson, and Carson Jordan, on the line. Linebackers are Masai White and Joel Iye Buniwe. The defensive backs, LeVerick Johnson, DeAndre Ferris, Drell Green, Marcus Ward, and Joe Brown. Marcus Ward also coming back from an injury last season and making his way back into the starting lineup. One
of the smartest guys on the team. He had a second week knee injury against the University of Alabama. He is definitely going to bolster this secondary. And the Hilltoppers, Iye Buniwe, you mentioned him, they call him Iggy. He is going to pop someone in this game, I guarantee it, Joe.
Iggy's a lot easier to say than Iye Buniwe. I'll give him that much. 1st and 10. Ball on the 21-yard line, kind of over towards the right hash mark as Boyle under center. Well, steps back, takes a snap, and a quick screen. Pele and Eastern Kentucky moving it up the field a little bit, picking up about 7 on the play there on first down.
And EKU doing a nice job of offensive game planning so far. Let the rush come to you. All the
under center
natural endorphins and the adrenaline going right now. A screen play is the perfect thing to call. He's running a few arm tackles.
That'll make it 2nd and 3. Ball on the 28-yard line. Colonels need to get to the 31 to pick up the first down. Scott, the deep back. They'll hand it off to him running over to the right-hand side, diving for the first down marker, and he'll be awfully close, heading up on the right-hand side, right at the 31.
LJ Scott, 6 foot, 222 pounds, and impressed with his speed, how he was able to get to that corner, transferred from the University of Louisville, and you see that a lot with these FCS teams, especially at the quarterback. Tim Boyle, a guy at the University of Connecticut, didn't get a lot of playing time. EKU says, hey, come here, be our starting quarterback after having a pretty miserable year in 2016 at the quarterback position.
10:20 remaining here in the first quarter. It's another first down for Eastern Kentucky. 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line. A flag coming out in the backfield of Eastern Kentucky, and it will be a penalty against the Colonels.
And penalties are always tough, Joe, but when you're trying to pull off that kind of upset in enemy territory, and when you're trying the first drive of the game, when you have a chance to take the lead, they're killer, no matter where they are.
They'll move them back 5, make it 1st and 15. Ball on the 26-yard line. Colonels coming out with receiver over on the right-hand side. I believe that's Ryan Marcouche with 2 receivers on the left. Scott to the left of his quarterback, Boyle. Boyle in the gun, takes a snap, looks to throw up the middle, and the catch is made.
And that's just good recognition by Boyle. He saw the coverage was off, he made the quick pass, and if they're going to let him have it, why not take it? And EKU starting to creep closer to midfield after having pretty tough field position to start.
Gain of 11 on the completion to the tight end, Dan Paul. Make it 2nd and 4, ball on the 37-yard line. 2 receivers on the right-hand side, 1 to the left. Receiver going in motion on the right-hand side. Here comes a snap, handoff to Scott. He's running through the Western Kentucky defense, picking up another first down on the carry, getting across the 42.
And the Hilltoppers doing a good job closing in on him, but EKU starting to slowly move the ball. The offensive line getting off a little bit quicker than the Western Kentucky defensive line right now to get that initial surge.
Another first down for Eastern Kentucky, now on their own 42-yard line. As you mentioned, Billy, they started this drive inside their own 5.
Yeah, and they've been able to just dink and dunk their way all the way to where they are now, the 42.
2 receivers going in motion here. Tight end Paul being one of them. Here comes a snap, and they'll go to the opposite side on the right-hand side. Pass complete and getting right up to the 50-yard line. And the Colonels keep marching. The completion to Ryan Marcouche.
And again, Joe, if they're going to play off of you, just throw it to them in open space. Make the other man miss. And EKU right now taking what they're given so far.
Paul being one of them. Here comes a snap, and they'll go to the opposite side.
On the right-hand side.
On the play.
Pass complete.
Getting right up to the 50-yard line. And the current 2 receivers to the left on this play. And here comes, well, Boyle's going to step back towards the line. Readjust, and here comes the snap. That one's going to go out of the reach of Boyle, and well, the Colonel's just going to have to dive on top of it. Scott doing so, but it's a big loss for EKU and sets them back deep on a big 3rd down.
And that's 2 mistakes on this drive for EKU. They had
that
the delay
one's
of
going
game,
to
which you should
go out
never
of the
have.
reach of Boyle.
And then also that bad
Colonel's
snap. You
just gonna
cannot
have
have
to
that,
dive
especially on the opening drive of the game when you're making so much progress. Now the Hilltoppers trying to get their fans into it.
3rd and 14. Ball back to the 38-yard line. 2 receivers on the left, 1 to the right. Boyle looking over towards the sideline for the play call. Scott shifts over to left-hand side. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, has the time. Quick screen play and gets past one tackler with some room to run. He'll be shy of the 1st down. But picks up some good yardage up to the 47-yard line. Inside, here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back,
Great
has the
pursuit
time.
there
Quick
by the
screen play.
Hilltoppers. And the man
Gets past
coming
one
from
tackle
behind
with some room to
make the
run.
tackle,
He'll
number
be
10.
Shy of the
Hilltoppers
1st down.
Able to finally bend but not break, Joe. And as EKU isn't able to get it past the 50, they did show some signs of life there.
And so now Keith Rusak will step out onto the field to punt this away. Keith Rusak was chosen 2nd team All-American in FCS. Here comes a snap, and Rusak to punt it away. Running to the side, and it's going to be a pretty nice punt right down to the 11-yard line. Fair catch made, and the Hilltoppers will start deep in their own territory. 6 minutes remaining here in the 1st quarter.
Few battle of field position here. Western able to pin EKU down on their own 5, and now EKU doing the same thing. Joe, I'll be honest, I saw a lot of positives from EKU on that offensive series. They were taking what they were given. They were able to start to move down the ball down the field, and if it wasn't for that low snap, they could have kept moving down. So Western Kentucky, we saw their first offensive series. Let's see if they can try to improve on that.
And again, this is the Battle of the Bluegrass, and this is the first time they have met in the past 8 years. They first met in 1914 with Eastern Kentucky winning that one, but the Hilltoppers hold the lead in the series 46-35 and 3. Western Kentucky also holds a lot of the records and actually have the longest winning streak with 13 total, and won the last time these 2 teams met, which was back in 2008. Western Kentucky won that one 37-13.
In that game, Bobby Rainey, who is now in the NFL, actually had a touchdown in that one. So that's kind of how old this rivalry is, at least as recently as it is. And forget the Governor's Cup, forget UK and U of L as dominance of this state. It used to be Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky, the most played game between 2 Kentucky schools for 85 times. I mean, this is the rivalry in Kentucky, and I love seeing these 2 teams play each other, no matter if one's in the FBS and one is not. They're both founding members of the Ohio Valley Conference, and a lot of the core fan bases of these schools love this rivalry. I mean, I said it earlier, this is what the championship game was, is when these 2 teams played. And you can think of brawls in the past. Mike Sanford Jr. did a good job of bringing in older players to talk to the new players about how important this rivalry is. And I think they're starting to feel it, as we saw in this opening series.
In 6:16 remaining here in the 1st quarter. Western Kentucky 0, Eastern Kentucky 0. Both teams coming up empty-handed on their first drives of the game. Did not get the chance to reduce the Eastern Kentucky defense on the first drive. I'll go ahead and do that now. On the line, Aaron Patrick, Josiah Bennett, Connor Foose, and Luder Gene Lewis. The linebackers, Jeffrey Kennedy, Damon Lowe, and Corey Glass. In the defensive backfield, Cornelius Floyd, Nigel Bethel II, Buck Solomon, Kobe Grace, and Eric Reed.
Aaron Patrick, the defensive end, one of the guys that you really need to watch on the defense for EKU. He was chosen to the preseason All-Ohio Valley Conference team. And so he's going to start to wreak havoc on that end. Also Jeffrey Kennedy, the linebacker, and the senior.
Quick handoff. The Hilltoppers on the sweep, running over to the right. Picking up a few yards on the carry by Joe Brown.
Actually, Jaco Pearson, the redshirt freshman.
Joe Pearson. There you go.
There's also a 7 on defense,
There's 7
too.
on, yeah, Joe Brown's on defense.
Why would they do that?
To confuse me. That's why they do it. It'll be 2nd and 4, ball on the 17-yard line. Pearson again in motion, but they don't hand off to him this time. White stepping up into the pocket, lets it fly up the middle. Catch made by Lucky Jackson. Stiff arm up the right-hand side. It'll be a first down for Western Kentucky.
And a textbook play there by Mike White to step into the pocket, find his receiver, crossing from left to right. This is what you look at when you're looking for pro-ready quarterbacks. And Mike White, guy who's 6'4", 225 pounds, is starting to fit that mold more and more.
Jackson came on late last year, ended the season with 395 receiving yards and a couple touchdowns in the last few games of the season. After Nakari's fan picked up the injury, now the handoff. Furby will run it up between the tackles. Picking up a good chunk of yards on first down. He'll run up to the 48-yard line.
Yeah, the best way to Furby ball, he will run you over. There are some highlights from 2 years ago when he was a freshman that you make you say, wow.
Off the offset I formation again to Furby. He'll pick up the first down, falling ahead into Colonel territory up to the 48-yard line.
And something that we are seeing in this second drive that we did not see in the first for the Hilltoppers is tempo. They're starting to get to the line a little bit quicker, and they're starting to get that momentum going.
Under 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Hilltoppers looking for the first points of the game. They're at midfield right now on the red towel. It's 1st and 10 on the 48. Here comes a snap, and White fakes the handoff. Looking down the middle but doesn't have the opening. Will go for the short pass, and it will be incomplete. Looking for Furby.
Furby not able to make the catch there, but one of the big question marks for the Hilltoppers coming into the season was the offensive line. They lost 3 of their starters. Forrest Lamp, who was a 2nd-round pick. You had Max Halpin at center, and you also had Darrell Williams, who had some workouts with some NFL teams. How are they going to respond? And on that last play, Mike White had plenty of time.
A couple of running backs in the backfield with White this time. We'll move one as a receiver over on the left-hand side. 2 receivers on each side. As White steps back. 10 seconds on the play clock. As White steps back in. Here comes a snap. White handing off to Furby. Tripped up at the line. He'll dive forward to gain a few up to the 46.
We've seen a few quirks from this WKU offense that we would not have seen under Jeff Brom. One of those is that last play, the read option. That's something that Coach Sanford has stressed with this team. And also the I formation we saw in the very first play. A few different looks. That's going to be new to Hilltopper fans, but looking for the same results.
3rd and 8, ball on the 46-yard line on the left hash mark. White in the gun. 3 receivers on the right-hand side. Here comes a snap. White looking towards his right. Has to step into the pocket. Now looking to scramble. Buying some time, and now he'll take it and run. Gets across the 40 and down to the first down marker. The quarterback keeper by White. Buying enough yardage for the first down.
It looked like a missed sack at first. I believe it was Nigel Bethel that came in and off the edge and didn't make the sack. But Mike White always looking to throw first, as you saw him on the line of scrimmage getting ready to throw still. But he's showing some mobility, a little bit more than Brandon Dowdy had in his few years here.
So another first down on the 37-yard line. Receiver going in motion. Here comes a snap. White looking to throw, makes the completion. Gets up to the 30. And the catch made by Quinn Jernigan.
Look at all the different names that are getting touches for the Hilltoppers at the receiver position. Over the last few years, it was Taywon Taylor and Nicholas Norris. With those 2 senior gone, we've seen Nicarius Fant, Kylan Towner, Quinn Jernigan. Pearson was another guy that made a catch. It's really who's going to step up and make plays at this receiver position.
Got 2 receivers on the left-hand side, 1 to the right. White sends a running back in motion. Here comes a snap. White, little screen play, and nobody really looking for it. Falls incomplete.
And it looked like EKU sniffed that one out a little bit. And now the Hilltoppers forcing a 3rd and short. And I'd be a little surprised if they didn't run the ball, Joe. I think they want to find that mentality with a DeAndre Furby, but he's going to go off the field here, and Marquez Trigg, a guy from Louisville, will be in the backfield.
2:42 on the clock here in the first quarter. It's 3rd and 3. Ball on the 30. Jackson going in motion from left to right. Here comes a snap. Flag coming out before we get underway. Go to the man in the white hat, see what the penalty is. It's a false start against the Hilltoppers, moving them back 5.
Well, this makes things a little bit interesting, Joe, because the Hilltoppers kicker, who has done so well over the last year, Skylar Simcox, is no longer with the program. As of today, the kicker Ryan Nuss is the starter, a 5'9", 200-pound junior. So we're getting on the edge of field goal range here. Let's see what the play call is for Mike Sanford Jr. if he wants to play conservative and bring his field goal team out, or if he's going to try to go deep.
3 receivers over on the right-hand side. Got a one-on-one matchup kind of over here on the left. A lot of real estate to work with on the left-hand side. Here comes the snap. White looking to throw. Goes up the middle. Catch is made. It will be enough for the first down. And pushing for more across the 20. Much to the Hilltopper fan delight as Western Kentucky keeps marching down the field.
Some nice balance there, and he was able to get the step on the defensive back. Mike White is able to deliver it on time and in the right position, and that's too easy for the Hilltoppers.
Catch made by Yelder, the tight end for the Hilltoppers. Another first down. 1st and 10 on the 19. Here comes a snap. The handoff to Furby, running through the tackles, trying to break free. He'll get down to the 15-yard line. Trigg on the carry.
A Trigg, a guy that the Hilltopper staff are pretty excited about.
Yeah.
He's been here for a while. He is only a redshirt sophomore, but he has shown some explosiveness in his time. And with Ace Wales gone to graduation, he's kind of the guy behind DeAndre Furby, the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, Trigg out of Glasgow, so a local guy. Here comes a snap, and they will hand it off. Furby in this time on the carry, and Eastern Kentucky reads that one pretty quickly.
Just blown up in the backfield by EKU. That knew that was coming, but that is a play that you would never see the Hilltoppers run over the last few years. A counter play. Nobody guarded him off the edge, and he was able to get the easy tackle.
They'll make it 3rd and 8. Minute 20 remaining here in the first quarter. 3 receivers over on the left-hand side. 2 to the right as we're going 5 wide. White by himself in the backfield. Here comes the snap. White dropping back, looking to throw. Doesn't see an opening, now has to roll over. Throws on the run, makes the completion to Lucky Jackson, and he'll get inside the 5 for another Hilltopper first down.
Running to your left, throwing across your body while going to the left. Mike White continuing to show the signs that he is the leader of this Hilltopper program, and that was a big first down pickup, just like they did the few downs before on 3rd down.
1st and goal for the Hilltoppers. Again, looking for the first points of the game. We're still tied at 0 in the final minute of the opening act here. Here comes the snap and the handoff to Furby up the middle. It's back to the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 2nd and goal on the 4.
Furby on the CUSA All-Freshman team in 2015 after a run that we saw him really explode against the University of Indiana.
Western Kentucky loading up on the right-hand side. Now shifting it. Change in the play, going back to an I formation. Here comes the snap and the handoff to Furby again in between the tackles. Picks up a couple, but gets hit pretty hard right there by that 2nd line of defense.
And a surprising score at the end of the first quarter, Joe. 0-0. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I don't
with
think
some of these
many
teams
saw this. So the first quarter is going to end, and Eastern Kentucky celebrating at the end of the quarter.
Acting like they just won the game. Really,
Yeah,
Joe?
They are all up on the field celebrating that it is a 0-0 game at the end of the first. So at the end of the first, it is Western Kentucky 0, Eastern Kentucky 0. So we'll switch sides here. And Western Kentucky will have one more opportunity with a third down. Yeah, we'll go ahead and step aside. Again, you're watching Western Kentucky versus Eastern Kentucky here on Flow Sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Western Kentucky University, Battle of the Bluegrass. Start of the second quarter, it's Western Kentucky 0, Eastern Kentucky 0 here on Flow Sports. Joe Brunk and Billy Rutledge here with you. Western Kentucky right there on the doorstep looking for the first points of tonight's game. It is 3rd and 2. Down on the 2-yard line.
Gotta think the power run's coming.
Wide in the gun, he's got Furby off to his right, and they'll hand off to Furby, running between the tackles, and he's in. Touchdown, Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers on the board with a 2-yard score by Furby.
And before that, Furby wasn't getting it done. 7 rushes for 18 yards, averaging 2.3 a carry. That time the Hilltoppers knew they were the better team, and Furby able to punch it up the middle into the end zone.
I mean, looking at the numbers, Western Kentucky in the first quarter, 97 yards of offense to Eastern Kentucky's 48. Of course, Western Kentucky had 2 drives to Eastern Kentucky's 1. So Western Kentucky playing that numbers game, and now we'll come back for a traditional extra point here.
And Ryan Nuss, the kicker here, not originally the starting kicker, but as of today, Skylar Simcox no longer with the program.
Here comes the kick. It is up, and the kick is good. And so Ryan Nuss puts it through, and that makes the score Western Kentucky 7, Eastern Kentucky nothing. The Hilltoppers scoring on their second drive of the game.
I'll tell you what, though, Joe, it's still early. EKU looked good in their first offensive series. It took the Hilltoppers 2 to be able to get one into the end zone, but they marched it all the way down the field. They were able to convert on 3.
Kentucky getting on the board off a 2-yard run by DeAndre Furby, capping off the second drive of the game for the Hilltoppers. They now lead 7-0 in the Battle of the Bluegrass. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports. Eastern Kentucky on their first drive, very effective up until they got to about midfield, and a low snap doomed the drive to a punt. This kickoff is going to go deep into the end zone, and it will be a touchback for the Colonels.
A couple things, Joe. First of all, we may have seen the quickest first quarter in the last decade for WKU football.
Yes.
After 0-0, and then DeAndre Furby punching it in to start the second. But that drive for the Hilltoppers, 16 plays, 89 yards, took up 6 minutes and 20 seconds. That is a great rebound from the 3-and-out that started this game. Maybe some nerves, the adrenaline pumping for these guys, and especially a new regime, a whole new coaching staff, but they were able to come down the field methodically. They were 3 for 4 on 3rd down. And they were able to, well, really 3 for 3 on that drive, because the one miss was on the first drive. And the Hilltoppers able to punch it in.
In Eastern Kentucky on their drive, let's take a look at Western Kentucky's 2016 success. Again, a second consecutive 10-win season. They beat Louisiana Tech for the Conference USA title. Lost to them during the regular season, but came back, beat them for the conference championship, and with that went on to the Boca Raton Bowl. As Jeff Brom had actually left the program at that point to head to Purdue. They had an interim coach in that bowl game, went on to beat Memphis 51-31 and claim another bowl victory for this Hilltopper program.
And how much fun was that Boca Raton game? He's had the fake kneel down that Bill Belichick credited the Hilltoppers with showing him at the end of the first half. And then you also had Forrest Lamp, the left tackle, getting a thrown touchdown. Those fat man touchdowns, some of the best parts of football, college or professional. But some more stats in 2016. Hilltoppers had the #1 scoring offense in the FBS, #2 rushing defense, the 5th total offense due to yards in 2016. I mean, this was a juggernaut of a team, and you can see why Jeff Brom was such a high commodity on the coaching carousel.
Found his way to Purdue, took a lot of the coaching staff with him from Western Kentucky. And so when Coach Sanford came in, he had to bring in a lot of guys of his own as well. So a lot of new faces coming in to Western Kentucky for the football program. And kind of the name that sticks out, of course, is Steve Spurrier Jr.
Yeah, Spurrier Jr., he's the assistant head coach in QBs. His son plays locally at the South Warren High School, the team that I called earlier today. And you have Junior Adams as offensive coordinator and Clayton White as defensive coordinator. Also, Mike Sanford Sr., the father to the new head coach, Mike Sanford Jr., as special teams and running backs coach. So it's a whole new regime trying to bring their own system and excitement into the program.
Colonels will start this drive on the 25-yard line. As Boyle starts in the gun, here comes the snap. He'll drop back looking to throw, and he'll settle for the short pass, and is blasted immediately after the catch. It'll be a loss of yards on the play.
There he is, Joe. Iggy.
Oh, Iggy with the shot. You called it.
Making those big hits. I mean, he has been at the center of the linebacking core for the Hilltoppers for the last 2 years, and I'm still impressed with Tim Boyle. He was 5 for 5 before this drive for 49 yards. He was not the reason why EKU was not able to extend their first drive. Boyle showing some impressive attributes here in the first half.
Jason Lewis with that reception. It makes it 2nd and 11, back on the 24-yard line. Boyle going under center this time, and they'll hand it off for a run. Getting across the 25, gain a couple on the carry.
The Hilltoppers have injected an interesting defense. It's like a nickel set all the time. There's usually 2 linebackers, which is Messiah White and Joel and Iggy. And the rest are corners. And in college football today and age, and how much they spread out the field and try to throw the ball, it's kind of the injection that Clayton White has put into this team.
Again, that was Lewis on the carry, so he made the catch. Then with the run, brings up 3rd and 8, ball on the 27-yard line. 2 receivers stacked on top of each other. They're at the top of your screen. Here comes the snap. Boyle looking to throw, goes opposite side, and it will be incomplete. The intended target was Nico Creamer down the right-hand side, and that'll bring up 4th down and the punt squad for Eastern Kentucky.
And how about the response from the Hilltopper defense, doing the same as the Hilltopper offense? Now we're starting to see the speed difference between the 2 schools, and Joe Brown, the one on the coverage there for Western Kentucky.
13:26 remaining here in the 2nd quarter, as Keith Rusak back out to punt for Eastern Kentucky. Nakarius Fant on to receive for the Hilltoppers. Here comes a snap. Rusak lets this one fly, and Fant makes the catch at about the 35, looking for an opening, but none will be found there. The Eastern Kentucky punt coverage, pretty solid last year, pretty solid on that play as well.
Yeah, it's actually a juggernaut between 2 great special teams team. Nakarius Fant was one of the best punt returners in the nation last year, as he was voted to the CUSA first team in 2016, and he averaged 15.6 yards per return. And then contrarily, we see EKU, who has a punter who is top or 2nd team in the FCS, and then also about 2.3 yards per punt return last year. So it's the little things with these special teams units that excel, and that's how programs get much better, is not just offense and defense, but the tackling and the guys that don't get in on every play.
Yeah, the ability for special teams to flip a field. I mean, you can come out and have a drive that doesn't move the ball much, and then you can entirely flip the field the other way if you get the right punt. And Rusak certainly did a pretty good job of that, getting it back to the 35. So it's not like it's an exceptionally great position for Bowling or for Western Kentucky here in Bowling Green, but we'll take a look at Eastern Kentucky's season last year, 3-8 under the first season with Mark Elder. Of course, Elder coming from the University of Tennessee and had a top 25 recruiting class that year. Again, went 3-8, 2-6 in the Ohio Valley Conference. Struggling to find their quarterback, had 4 different starting quarterbacks through the season and couldn't really find the running game either. Ethan Thomas leading the way with only 385 yards, did not make the playoffs last season, and have only made the postseason once since 2011. But again, fans are encouraged by what Elder is doing. Again, he had a top 25 recruiting class in 2015, turnaround, did it again in 2016 leading into this season, and so they believe that Elder is getting this in the right direction, but it's taking the time to get there.
And they were actually pretty good at the turnover department, something that can get better over time and lead your team to more victories. They were 6th in the country with 13 fumbles recovered in 2016, and overall they finished 3rd in the OVC and 25th in the nation for FCS with 23 turnovers gained. So there's a lot of positives to nitpick from a 3-8 season. You have Mark Elder, who has back-to-back top 25 recruiting classes, new athletic facilities that it's being built there. EKU is starting to build once again, and they think they found their man in Mark Elder.
They've also added to Roy Kidd Stadium. I believe they built up the opposite side of that stadium, really making some renovations there to try to attract more players and fans to Eastern Kentucky. Which will be unveiled here in their first home game this season.
And if I'm a recruit going to Eastern, I love seeing on the schedule Western Kentucky and the University of Kentucky playing these FBS programs.
Western Kentucky taking over, leading 7-0 here in the second quarter. Here comes snap. White dropping back, looking to throw on 1st and 10. Looking deep, looking for Jackson. It will be incomplete with the defender draped all over. Pretty good coverage there by Eastern Kentucky. So it falls incomplete.
And I tell you, Mike could have made a ham and cheese sandwich back there in the pocket. He had all day. I'm very impressed so far with the offensive line.
We'll bring up 2nd and 10. Ball will be right on the 35, 36-yard line. White under center as Jackson goes in motion from the I formation as a receiver over to the left. Here comes a snap, looking to run it left, handing it off to Trigg, and he's met in the backfield. Loss of yards on the carry.
Heck of a tackle there by the EKU defender in the backfield, and that was Damon Lowe. But Western hasn't seen a lot of success in that I formation. When Mike White's under center so far, it seems like they're struggling to get that rushing attack going.
It seems to be unfamiliar to them. He really didn't go under center a lot. So the Hilltopper offense learning a few things under Coach Sanford. 2 receivers on each side here. 10 seconds on the play clock, and here comes the snap. White dropping back, looking to throw, has all day, and looking deep for Lucky Jackson, making the catch, and he's in stride to the 15-10, 5, and he strides in easy. Touchdown, Hilltoppers on the strike from White to Jackson.
And it really helps when you have all day to set up and find your man. Lucky Jackson had a nice post move that was able to beat the defensive back, but it started with the offensive line. Mike White was able to put it right on the money, and Lucky Jackson is the man that steps up for the Hilltoppers, the redshirt sophomore. He's just going to be one of the emerging stars for Western Kentucky over these years.
You know, Jackson last year, as we mentioned, came on solid at the end of the season once Nakarius Fant was hurt, but he actually had the team's lone touchdown against Alabama back when they played last season. Here comes a snap for the extra point. It is up, and it is good. And so that puts Western Kentucky up by 2 scores. 14-0 is the tally on the board. 12:20 remaining in the second quarter. You're watching Western Kentucky versus Eastern Kentucky on Flow Sports. We'll be right back.
Hilltopper Nation, please join.
And welcome back here to Bowling Green, Kentucky, the campus of Western Kentucky University. Battle of the Bluegrass between the Hilltoppers and the Colonels. Right now, Western Kentucky leading 14-0 early in the second quarter. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports. Glad you could join us this evening as we get college football season underway here. First contest for both these teams this season as the kickoff will go into the end zone and they will take the knee. It'll be a touchback for the Colonels.
A little indecisiveness there as well. You always want to take it back. You want to try to get that big play, but it's smarter most of the times to take a knee, go out to the 25-yard line. And EKU had a solid series on their first drive of the game. They struggled and went 3 and out on the second one, but Tim Boyle has shown that he can be accurate, and if EKU can continue to have some interesting play calling, then they can be able to move the ball down the field. But Western Kentucky looks like the better team, and we're only barely into the second quarter.
12:20 remaining in the quarter as Eastern Kentucky will take over on the 25-yard line. And EKU picked up some yards on that first drive. A low snap doomed the drive for Eastern Kentucky. And then the last drive that they had, it was a 3-and-out, led to a quick punt.
We see another stoppage of play here in college football as these games continue to get longer and longer. But Western Kentucky, new coach Mike Sanford, he came in and immediately had 5 bullet points for everybody in the Hilltopper program and what they were going to achieve. The first one was to graduate every player, recognizing the importance of graduation in the Hilltoppers academics. Number 2, serve our community relentlessly. Number 3, win the Conference USA Championship. Number 4, defeat a Power 5 team annually. And the last one, win a New Year's Six bowl game. So there's some high expectations with Mike Sanford Jr., despite only being 34 years old, despite being this first coaching job for him. He has come in and he has shown a wealth of confidence that the Hilltoppers fans are used to over these last few years. And frankly, Joe, I don't think those goals are too far-fetched.
No, I think you have to have, obviously the first one, graduate every student. I think if you go to any college program in the country, they're going to have that posted somewhere. I think that that's going to be a value for every college program. And then, I mean, you've seen the success that Western Kentucky's had here recently. Sanford just wants to build on that. And I think with this, what he's called the pursuit, what he's coined the term there, I think that they're well on their way, and it'll be interesting to see just how they do this year. Again, winning the conference last season, targets on their back.
Last 2 seasons, they've really been on a roll. 3 straight bowl wins, 2 conference championships, which has been highlighted with the new addition on the Jack and Jackie Harbaugh Stadium Club.
Back to the action here. Eastern Kentucky 1st and 10 on the 25 as Boyle takes a snap. Looking to his left, going down the sideline. Tipped down, incomplete. Over by the Western Kentucky sideline.
And I believe number 24, Roger Cray, was over there with the breakup. He's a true freshman that got the start today thanks to the Simmons injury that leaves the corner out. And that's another thing that Sanford has said, that he is not afraid to play some freshmen on this team. If you have the talent, you are going to get on the field.
You know, in Eastern Kentucky, we mentioned it last season, you know, went through a few quarterbacks. It looks like they are going with a new quarterback on this drive as well. This time handing it off to the running back, but running the offense now is Austin Scott, the redshirt freshman.
Yeah, Scott actually named the College Sports Madness Ohio Valley Conference Freshman of the Year for this season. So the preseason Freshman of the Year, expecting him to start. Boyle transfers from the University of Connecticut, and now looks like he's getting his chance to shine. And I'm not sure why, because I thought Boyle was doing a pretty good job.
So now Scott stepping back in. This time in the gun, it will be 3rd and 9. Here comes a snap. Scott dropping back, looking to throw, and he is met in the backfield by a host of toppers. And the WKU defense forcing another 3-and-out.
Yeah, it was Joe Brown. He came on the corner blitz. The receiver for EKU actually saw it, tried to point it out, but the redshirt freshman did not recognize it, and he got popped. Now the Hilltopper defense with 2 straight 3-and-outs after allowing EKU to almost get to midfield.
And so you look at the beginning of this game, first quarter flies by, both teams not able to get into the end zone. We get to this second quarter and you really see Western Kentucky maybe has woken up a little bit. The punt high in the air. It's a fair catch made by Nakarius Fant for Western Kentucky. And again, no yards on the return against EKU.
Yeah, they know what they're doing on the special teams coverage, and I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if we started to see a little bit of chippiness in this game. It is a rivalry, and they have been talking about the past and how for decades that these two teams hated each other. And as this game starts, if it continues to go this way with the Hilltoppers leading.
Western Kentucky leading Eastern Kentucky 14-0. Joe Brunk and Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports. Glad you could join us on the opening weekend of college football. Battle of the Bluegrass here as the Hilltoppers offense back out on the field. Leading 14-0, White in the gun. 2 receivers on each side. As Yelder going in motion, here comes the snap. Handing it off to Furby, he's hit. Right at the 35 will be a loss of yards on the carry.
There's the read option once again, a new addition of the Mike Sanford Jr. offense. And we also saw earlier Lucky Jackson line up at the fullback position, kind of came out to the receiver. We're seeing these new wrinkles for the Hilltopper offense, and it's something that the fans will have to get used to.
2 receivers on each side. White in the gun. 2nd and 11, here comes the snap. White looking deep, makes the completion to Lucky Jackson. Has a first down across the 50s. He got away from his defender and heads down the sideline to the 44-yard line.
What a shoulder shake that he had to get the extra yards after the curl route. That's what you're talking about, becoming a good receiver to a great one, is getting yards after the catch. And here you see in the replay, he was able to do just that and get the first down and more.
21-yard gain on the play, makes it 1st and 10 on the 44. Here comes a snap. White looking to throw, this time to the flat. Over on the left-hand side, and the catch made.
How about that bullet? He was looking at the running back the entire way, and he was able to find, I guess, his tight end there.
Yeah, Maquan Dean in at tight end making the catch. As you mentioned to Billy earlier, a lot of targets getting their name called, making the catch.
Yep, see who's going to step up for this Hilltopper team.
Offset I formation. Jackson moving in a little closer as White takes a snap, hand off to Furby, running between the tackles. Picking up a few and getting right up to that first down marker at the 34-yard line.
And it will be a first down, and finally a better run play for Western Kentucky. We saw the guard pull there. He was able to get into that hole and allow DeAndre Furby to get to that next level.
Same formation. Here comes the snap. Handing off again to Furby. Gets to the outside and tripped up at the 30, falling ahead to the 28. Gain of 6 on the carry.
Furby came in with an ankle injury. He was limited in practice this week, but it seems like he is fine now, and that shoulder injury that kept him out all of 2016 seems to be healed pretty well.
2 receivers on each side for White, who is in the gun, 2nd and 4, on the 28. Here comes the snap. White going to step into the pocket. He has got nowhere to go. Colonel defense swallows him up in the backfield.
Yeah, and credit to that Colonel defense. They were able to get in, push the offensive line into Mike White instead of getting around them. And it was a nice blitz scheme. It allowed the left tackle to not really know where he was at for the Hilltoppers.
Tackle for a loss of 4 on the play. We'll make it 3rd and 8. Back to the Colonel 32-yard line. 5 wide here, 3 receivers on the left-hand side. 2 to the right. Here comes the snap. White dropping back, looking to throw. Steps into the pocket. Hit as he throws, and it will be... Oh, actually, they're saying it's a fumble, and Eastern Kentucky going to scoop it up and run. He's at the 30. No one's going to get to him to the 10-5, and that is a touchdown for Eastern Kentucky.
It's going to come back, though, a bad blocking in the back by EKU as one of the Western receivers tried to come back and catch him. Mike White hit as he was throwing. We'll have to kind of look at the replay and see if his arm was going forward, but as of right now, it's going to be EKU ball in good field position, but not a touchdown.
I thought that the arm was coming forward, but Eastern Kentucky running with it. Whistle didn't blow. They ran with it. Big block in the back. So as it stands right now, Eastern Kentucky, huge turnover as the Hilltoppers were driving and getting into scoring position. We'll see what the call is. So we'll look at the replay here as White stepping back, realize again nothing stepped in, and I think the ball actually did come out before he threw it. As you saw the arm coming forward, the ball was not in his hand at that point, so it does look like it was a fumble, and Eastern Kentucky picks it up. The Colonel is going to take over here.
And it actually looked like they could have made it into the end zone without that block
Yeah.
besides the WKU receiver trying to come back. So not a good decision there by the Colonel player, but nevertheless, EKU has a huge opportunity now deep into Hilltopper territory.
Yeah, big play by the Colonel defense. Now sets them up on the Hilltopper side of the field on the 36-yard line, 1st and 10.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
lost the ball
Yeah,
before he
definitely a
started to
fumble.
throw.
Yep. Quarterback in the gun. Here comes a snap, looking to throw deep, and they're going with a third quarterback. Actually, they just brought Boyle back in. Boyle back in at quarterback.
And a bad throw, as it looks like the fire alarms are going off.
Yeah, fire alarms going off here at Western Kentucky University, but no one is moving. 7:33 remaining here in the half. Again, Western Kentucky leading 14-0, but it's the Colonels with the ball and looking to drive and having to do it with the alarm going.
It's like pumped crowd noise right now.
Carry going over towards the left-hand side. Western Kentucky meeting him in the backfield. Be brought down at the 35. A loss of 1 on the carry.
Yeah, and the first one in there was Jolie Booneway, able to make him go sideways instead of north and south, and the Hilltoppers able to come back and wrap it up.
McCleskey on the carry. Just couldn't get around the defense quick enough.
I've never seen this, like a fire alarm going off during the middle of a game.
And you wonder how communication for the offense there as they're trying to get the play call in. How that's going for the Colonels right now. 3rd and 9. Here comes the snap. Throw up the sideline and makes the catch right at the line. They're right at that first down marker. Nice pitch and catch there from Tim Boyle.
And Devon Key, the safety for the Hilltoppers, a redshirt freshman, a lot of youth getting some playing time in this first game.
They are going to say it's short, though. 4th and 1 coming on the Hilltopper 27-yard line, and now the fans looking to make even more noise, drowning out that fire alarm.
Yeah.
That's still going on here at Houchin-Smith Stadium. Here comes the snap, looking to hand it off, and he is met at the line. We'll see if he fell forward enough or not, but this is going to be a close call here for the officials.
Chris Johnson and that big defensive line able to get that initial push, not allowing a hole to open up, and I think it's going to come down to a measurement here.
The officials clearing the huddle after the play was over.
And you just see the push that the defensive line had immediately after the snap. They definitely won that battle, and they allowed their linebackers to come up and try to stop them. And if they hold with
The
that
officials,
spot, I don't know if they got it.
Yeah, they are calling for the markers.
The light's still flashing for the fire alarm, but the alarm itself has gone off.
6 minutes remaining here in the first half. Getting Western Kentucky leading 14-0 as the markers come out. Eastern Kentucky looking to take advantage of a fumble that they picked up and brought back into WKU territory, and that run is going to be short by about 6 inches. Western Kentucky taking over on downs.
That is brutal for EKU. You had your best starting field position of the night off a turnover, and what could have been a touchdown, but an unnecessary block in the back allowed EKU, or allowed the Hilltoppers to get their defense on the field and make that stop.
So Western Kentucky makes the stop there on 4th down. A turnover on downs, and again, the defense has done a really good job against EKU. After that first drive, the Colonels really haven't been able to move the ball a great deal.
And it started at the line of scrimmage. The defensive line has started to take over this game. Derek Overstreet, an impressive and a senior defensive end, has made 35 straight starts there. Him, Chris Johnson, have really started to dominate that line.
6 minutes remaining here in the first half. So Western Kentucky taking to the field again, and looks like the officials want to talk something over here.
Some strange things in this game, Joe. We saw a 0-0 first quarter. And let's see what Hayward hit. Didn't have his mic on.
Well, we've got another chime ringing through the stadium as well right now.
Maybe EKU coach is a little upset about the fire alarm and how they had to run their offense through that. Well, we've seen a fire alarm. We saw EKU celebrate like they won the game at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
And it's just been a little bit of a strange one.
Looks like we'll get back to the action here, though.
Check.
With no word from
No
the
explanation.
official. No explanation. They just held it up. But we'll start back here on the 27-yard line after the Hilltoppers making a stop on 4th and 1. Two receivers on each side
Check.
with White in the gun. Tight end going in motion from the right to the left. They will hand it off. Furby looking for an opening in the backfield, and he'll be met at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the run by Furby.
And they've struggled to run the ball out of the shotgun in this game. Seems like that initial 2-3 yards back is not allowing DeAndre Furby, who is more of a power runner, to get not a head start, but it's actually losing yardage.
They'll give him a yard on that carry. 2nd and 9 on the 28. Back to the gun, two receivers on each side. Here comes the snap. White dropping back, looking to throw, going up the right sideline. It's incomplete, looking for Jernigan on the right-hand side.
That's just a missed target there for Mike White. He had his man open on the throw route back, and it was just a little bit too far to the right.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 9. Ball on the 28-yard line. Three receivers over here on the left-hand side at the bottom of your screen. Here comes a snap. White dropping back, looking to throw. He'll look on a flat route by Nakarius Fant. Makes the catch, and he is at that first down marker right at the 37-yard line.
And that could be his first catch of the day. We saw him have a drop on the first drive on 3rd down, but Nakarius Fant is supposed to be the guy for the Hilltoppers this year. A senior coming back, did such a good job in the return game. He had to leave 2016 early with an injury as well.
First down for Western Kentucky, and they will hand it off again, running up the middle this time. The carry by Furby, getting all the way up to the 43-yard line. You mentioned Nakarius Fant, what he was expected. He was actually named to the Paul Hornung Award watch list at the beginning of this year, which is given to the most versatile player in college football.
Nakarius, a guy that came from Bowling Green High School locally.
Yeah, local athlete. Seen him mostly on special teams, but it's started to come into his own in the offense as well. And there's an Eastern Kentucky player. And we will go ahead and toss to a break here as they check out that EKU player. Eastern Kentucky, Western Kentucky here on Flow Sports. We'll be right back. We are back here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Western Kentucky leading Eastern Kentucky 14-0 here in the second quarter. A handoff to Marquez Trigg running up the left-hand side and picking up a first down for Western Kentucky.
One of the best things that the Hilltopper rushing attack has had in the last couple of years have been a change of pace. If it's not Ace Wells, it's a DeAndre Furby. If it's not Ace Wells, it's a Leon Allen, and Marquez Trigg is that guy for this Hilltopper team.
1st and 10, ball on the 45. Another carry by the Topper offense.
And you also have to remember Quentin Baker is suspended for this game, but a very talented sophomore that got a lot of playing time at the running back position last year.
Yeah, Baker, a highly recruited player out of Eastern Kentucky, actually committed to Marshall, and then
went to the Marshall Western game.
Yep, and then changed his commitment to Western Kentucky after the Toppers got that win. White stepping into the pocket, making the throw, catch by Trigg. Moving up a couple yards up to the 42-yard line.
And that's fine. 2nd and long, you make it 3rd and manageable with something like that. That's something that coaches are looking for from a quarterback. You don't always have to get the yardage back on every single play. If you find that it's not open, just go to your check down, touchdown or check down.
Going to be a 3rd and 7. Western Kentucky needing to get to the 35-yard line to move the chains. 3 minutes remaining here in the half. White with 2 receivers on each side, takes the snap. White looking to throw, going to the right side. The catch is made by Nakarius Fant. And another first down for Western Kentucky.
A heck of a throw there by White. He put it right on the money, right out of his break. And a lot of the times, being a quarterback, it's about throwing to spots. Instead of a receiver, you throw to a spot and you hope your receiver can get there. And that time, he did exactly that.
Gain of 14 on the play. 2:50 on the clock. So Western Kentucky on the Colonel side of the field at the 28-yard line. I formation with White under center.
And here's the receiver coming out of the fullback position again.
Jackson in motion. Here comes snap. White dropping back, looking towards his left, and he is met in the backfield. 2 Colonels, one from each side, breaking through, and White had nowhere to go. That is a big loss of yards caused by the Colonel defense.
And we saw a missed block there by the freshman tight end. I believe that's Fortenberry, number 48, but we've seen a lot of motion from the Hilltoppers, and not a lot of times that motion's been successful.
Timeout taken by Eastern Kentucky here. And we're going to go ahead and toss to a break as well. Watching EKU versus WKU here on Flow Sports. We'll be right back. Back here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Western Kentucky leading Eastern Kentucky 14-0 late in the second quarter here on Flow Sports. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you. Kind of the big opening weekend of college football and the Battle of the Bluegrass. The place to be this Saturday night. 3 receivers on the left-hand side. It's 2nd and 21 after the big loss. A catch made by Nakarius Fant and another tackle in the backfield. Another loss of yards. So Western Kentucky, who had the big play to get inside the 30, has now been driven back to the 42. They've got to get all the way inside the red zone to pick up a first down on this next play. But Eastern Kentucky going to use another timeout, stopping the clock with 2:09 left in the half, and doing that, try to get themselves a chance to get the ball in a decent possession before heading to the locker room at the break.
We have to remember that Skylar Simcox, their kicker that was named to the 2017 Lou Groza Award watch list, is no longer with the program, so that impacts what they're going to do in this situation. Ryan Nuss, the redshirt junior, has been named the starting kicker in his absence. We've seen him kick 2 extra points, but that is not a 45, 50-yard field goal with a chance to bank it a 3-possession game. But not sure about the play call there. Bubble screen on 2nd and
21.
21.
Yeah.
Backed him up even more.
And again, you're not trying to pick up everything all at once.
Right.
You know, take a couple plays to pick up what you can. But they don't pick up anything. Actually lose some yards on the play. It's 3rd and 24. Back at the 42-yard line. Again, Western Kentucky having to get up to the 18 for a fresh set of downs. 2 receivers on each side.
Blitz coming.
Here comes a snap. White stepping back into the pocket. Has some time, lets it fly up the left-hand side. The catch made by Jernigan. He gets inside the 25. Will not be a first down.
And it was because of the offensive line. They blitzed from Mike's left side. They were able to pick it up cleanly and allow White to scan the field to find his 2nd read there.
Out of bounds at the 26-yard line. And so the kick squad will come out. Nuss on to kick.
Nuss on to attempt a 44-yard field goal.
It's about a 42-yard field goal attempt. Lets it fly. It's got the distance, and it's got the accuracy. Nuss knocking it through from 42 yards out.
It's a big confidence builder for the guy who didn't know he was going to start the game until this morning.
That makes a score. Western Kentucky 17, Eastern Kentucky nothing. Makes it a 3-score game.
despite those negative plays near the end of the drive, they were able to get enough to get their man in field goal range, and still they did not squander the opportunity to put more points on the board, and now making it a 3-possession game before we go to halftime.
Hilltoppers will come out to kick it away. Eastern Kentucky will have 1:43 on the clock and 1 timeout. We'll see what they can do, see if they can get some points on the board before heading into the break.
And we'll see which quarterback comes out.
Here comes the kick. And we've seen Tim Boyle, we've seen Austin Scott. This one is going to go out of bounds before reaching the end zone. So the Colonels will have a pretty decent starting spot on this drive.
And Alex Ranella is the kickoff specialist and long field goal specialist, as Sanford Jr. has said a few times. He is the one that will be called for the legal procedure. So Western continuing to give EKU some decent field position. Besides the first drive, or really the first punt of the game for EKU, Western has had pretty decent field position to go down the field.
This drive will start on the 35-yard line. And they are going with Tim Boyle at quarterback here. The officials talking something over here before getting back to the action.
Hilltopper offense has used a lot of weapons so far in this game.
They certainly have.
We're going to get the stats at halftime.
Okay, so there was actually a false start penalty as well, but that one was declined. So the drive starts on the 35-yard line after we've cleared everything over. 2 receivers over on the right-hand side, 1 to the left. Boyle in the gun. Here comes a snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw up the middle, and a nice snag by the Colonels.
Heck of a job there to hold on to the ball after making that catch.
B.K. Smith on the catch. Look at the replay here up the middle. Had a defender right there on it, but Smith making it, and now the snap gets away from Boyle, and Scott again having to dive on top of it to keep possession alive for EKU. So again, you see Eastern Kentucky move the ball, and then it's marred by a botched snap.
Kagan Skidmore, the 6'2", 300-pound senior center for EKU, and you just can't have that happen. It's a drive killer, momentum killer, and when you're trying to pull off an upset on the road, these are just some things you can't have.
Loss of 17 on the play makes it 2nd and 27. Back on the Colonel 33. Here comes a snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw. Going to the right-hand side this time. The receiver lost his footing, and because of that, wasn't able to get to the ball.
Yeah, that was a great pass rush there. They only rushed 4, but you saw the 2 defensive tackles kind of come cross between each other and meet at the quarterback.
51 seconds on the clock. It'll be 3rd and 27. Western Kentucky still with 3 timeouts.
Yeah, if they make this stop, then I would expect them to use one of them and try to put some more points on the board.
2 receivers to the right-hand side and 1 to the left at the top of your screen for Eastern Kentucky. Here comes a snap, and they're going to hand it off to Scott on the carry, which forces Western Kentucky to use one of those timeouts as the carry gets up to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, and that's the safe play. Make Western burn a timeout, and you're not risking a turnover in a very dangerous part of the field.
So the Hilltoppers taking the timeout again. All the offenses belong to Western Kentucky. Furby with a touchdown run. Touchdown catch by Lucky Jackson, and then we just saw moments ago the field goal from Ryan Nuss, who, well, got the call up to the starting spot today.
Yeah, it's not the flea flickers and double reverses that Hilltopper fans are used to with Jeff Brom, but they started slow, but they're starting to find their footing. They're starting to find their identity, and besides a few miscues with some motion plays that have been blown up in the backfield, I think the Western Kentucky Hilltopper offense is going to be in good hands just with the talent alone that they have.
And then the defense has stepped up pretty big against Eastern Kentucky. Again, they had about 50 yards of offense in the first quarter. They really haven't added much to that here in the second. We'll have the official stats for you at the half, but 45 seconds remaining here in Western Kentucky with 2 timeouts left. And here comes a snap. Punt gets away and heading towards the side of Nakari's fan, but it will go out of bounds. No return on the punt.
And that's 0 points up there by Eastern Kentucky. That's a pride thing for all of the players on the Western Kentucky defense, and Clayton White, the defensive coordinator. If they can have 0 points going into halftime, or if they can keep it going until the end of the game, that's something that they pride themselves on, and bulletin board material for the guys that go into the program every day.
Western Kentucky last year allowed on average 25 points per game. They averaged 46 points a contest. Meanwhile, Eastern Kentucky averaged 26 points a game and allowed 31 points per contest.
Yeah, it really could have been the quickest first quarter in WKU in the last decade, as it was 0-0.
Yeah, pretty clean. Both teams, I mean, running the ball. It wasn't like there was even a ton of incomplete passes that stopped the clock. It just kind of kept running there. Next thing you know, first quarter was in the books. 38 seconds on the clock here in the second quarter. Hilltoppers first and 10 on the 26. Here comes the throw, and it will be caught. There's a flag on the play in the backfield. Going to be roughing the passer against the defense. Eastern Kentucky with a late hit on Mike White.
And one thing EKU has done so far today is get good pressure on the quarterback, but that time the ball was clearly out of his hands before the defender made contact with him. And you got to give them credit for those blitz packages. They're starting to get some pressure.
Yeah, they're starting to get through. I mean, White's been hit a few times. Hilltoppers have had some long down situations here. It's first and 10 on the 46. Now White stepping in, looking deep, looking for, I believe that was the tight end. It's knocked away, incomplete. To target Dion Yelder.
And White trying to force that one in because of the pressure. Once again, it seems like EKU, no matter if they bring 4 or if they have an exotic blitz package, it seems like they're starting to get to the quarterback. In the first quarter, it looked like Mike was pretty clean the entire time.
18 seconds remaining. Second and 10, ball on the 46-yard line on the Hilltopper side of the field. White takes a snap. He's looking to throw, looking right side. Now has to pump fake and throw on the run. Just throws it away. Incomplete. It'll bring up third down in 12 seconds.
Some time able to run off the clock after that roughing the passer penalty. They actually set the ball when the Hilltoppers were not ready. It burned about 8 seconds there, and now they have themselves with 2 timeouts and only 12 seconds remaining.
See if Western Kentucky can get in any kind of position, even for a field goal. You saw earlier the Western Kentucky able to knock in a 42-yarder. Need to get inside the 30 to get in position for that again. So still some real estate to get to. They want that to happen. White stepping in, ball gets loose. White's just going to dive on top of it to avoid the turnover. And Western Kentucky's going to let this one run out, and that is going to be the end of the first half here at Western Kentucky. It's the Hilltoppers 17, Eastern Kentucky Colonels nothing. We'll step aside for the half. Coverage of college football here on Flow Sports. We'll be right back. Live here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Western Kentucky leading Eastern Kentucky 17-0 at the half. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you, and it is the halftime. Let's take a look at some of the stats for that first half, and really as we look at them here, again, rushing wise, Western Kentucky with a slight advantage, 40 yards to 15, but it's through the air that the Hilltoppers have the advantage, 201 to 71. That's the difference in the game right there.
Yeah, the offense for the Hilltoppers has not been the best. It's not the crazy offensive machine that they've known in the Bobby Petrino, Jeff Brom era, but they've been able to do some good things. One thing they do need to work on, though, is their O-line protection. They gave up 2 sacks. It didn't seem like the rushing attack was able to get going very much because of the offensive line and the running backs. DeAndre Furby with only 37 yards and a touchdown. Lucky Jackson, 4 catches, 123 yards and a touchdown, had that 66-yard touchdown catch. And, I mean, it's not the crispest half that the Hilltopper program has ever had, but the defense looks solid. They're not committing a lot of penalties, only 1 penalty in this game, and the defense has continued to look pretty good. So it's not the best half for the Hilltoppers, but they'll take it, and they have a shutout going on.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the first half highlights of tonight's game here. In Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky meeting for the Battle of the Bluegrass. First time these two teams have met in 8 years. Big Red ready for this game, and so was the Colonel for Eastern Kentucky. Start off with a run here by the running back for Eastern Kentucky, but Western Kentucky, well, moving it down the field as well.
Really the first drive of the game this is for both teams.
Yeah, the first drive again. First drive came up empty-handed for both teams. Eastern had a little bit more yards in the first one, but once Western Kentucky got going in the second quarter, they started moving a little bit. Again, that was one of the botched fumbles.
Western moving forward.
Kentucky.
Yeah, you moving backwards.
Lucky Jackson getting him close. Furby getting stuffed at the end of the first quarter, but then at the start of the second, runs it through, and that was the first points of the game right there for Western Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky looking to answer back. Again, you have some completions there. Boyle, 8 of 11, but here come the deep strike there. White to Jackson all the way to the house. And that's the passing touchdown for Western Kentucky. Sanford celebrating with his quarterback there. And then the defense, as we mentioned, huge for the Hilltoppers. Eastern Kentucky, I think about 8 yards of total offense in the second quarter. Really wasn't able to move the ball a whole lot in the second period. The defense coming to play. Second and a half about to get underway between Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky. Battle of the Bluegrass. Start of the third quarter coming your way here on Flow Sports. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you. Western Kentucky elected to receive at the start of the game. So now they will kick off to start third quarter.
Yeah, and the better half will be on the field for the first time, the defense.
Here comes the kickoff, and it's going to be right inside the 5-yard line. So we'll have a return from Eastern Kentucky up to the 20, pushing ahead. Nice return there by L.J. Scott. Gets the Colonels just shy of the 30-yard line. That's where the Colonels will take over to start this quarter.
So EKU, first of all, they really need to get the center to quarterback exchange fixed, because we saw 2 detrimental bad snaps by the center that cost them in some drives. And also they got to start converting on third down. 1 of 6 in that first half compared to 7 out of 10 for the Hilltoppers. They were able to move the ball down the field consistently on third down, while EKU really struggled because they were pretty far in the down and distance.
First and 10, ball on the 27-yard line. Tim Boyle back in at quarterback. In 8 of 11 in the first half for 71 yards, and another snap gone awry as that one hit off the hands of Boyle, couldn't ring it in, and he'll dive forward for a yard. Getting up to the 28-yard line, it'll be 2nd and 9.
And that time it was on Boyle. It was a little low, but it was dropped by him. And
I mean, you give him credit for running forward and at least getting a yard out of it.
1 yard closer, I guess.
There you go. 2nd and 9. Ball on the 28. Over on the left hash mark. Offset I formation. Scott the deep back. Here comes a snap. Fake the handoff. Boyle looking deep, looking for the home run ball, and it is caught. What a snag there by Ryan Marcouche.
Yeah, heck of a throw. Boyle had time to step up in the pocket after the play action fake, and he put it on a dime with pretty good coverage there by Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Marcouche, great position there. Got the defender on his back. Brings it down, and so now the Colonels picking up a big chunk of yards on the Hilltopper 22-yard line. 2 receivers over on the left-hand side. Here comes the snap. Handoff and now looking for the throw. The receiver is open, but it falls incomplete. The toss from L.J. Scott. Too far for his intended target, the tight end, Paul.
And he had him.
Yeah.
I love the play call there. It reminds me of Braum when he was at Western Kentucky with the aggressiveness on the play action fake and now the halfback pass. And EKU only 3 possessions out of this. This is still a ball game, folks.
Oh, very much so. And Scott will check out. They'll bring in Daryl McCleskey as the running back in the backfield. Boyle under center, receiver on each side. 2nd and 10. Here comes the snap. Handoff to McCleskey, running between the tackles. And he'll move up to the 17-yard line.
Now here's the key down, Joe. 1 of 6 in the first half on the 3rd downs. Last time they were deep into Western Kentucky territory, they failed. They get it on 3rd, and then they went for it on 4th and didn't get it as well. EKU would like to start this half with a touchdown and try to get that momentum on their side.
BK Smith made a nice catch for a first down in the first half. He was there at the bottom of the screen before we cut to the crowd there. 3rd and 4. Ball on the 16-yard line. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Here comes a snap and passing to the outside. And the catch made by BK Smith.
Yeah, they were able to match him up on Iggy, the linebacker. And what happened on that first series of the game for EKU, they just took what was given to them. And that time Iggy was a little bit off the coverage of the receiver.
That'll make it 1st and goal as the Colonels, after a huge passing play to Ryan Marcouche, who's checking back in, will be a receiver on the left-hand side. The Colonels keep marching. 1st and goal. Ball on the 6-yard line. 3 receivers to the left. Here comes the snap. Boyle looking to throw, going to his left, looking to the corner to Marcouche. Holds on to it.
Oh, we got good.
And it's a touchdown for Eastern Kentucky. Marcouche with the snag in the corner, and the Colonels on the board to start the 3rd quarter.
And it was the true freshman Roger Cray that was beat on the corner route in the end zone. So we look at the replay here, Boyle with the great touch pass and way to get that foot in. He definitely was in. And EKU starting off the 2nd half with a punch in the mouth.
Colonels responding. Made some adjustments, and again, big passing play. Set all that up. Marcouche making it happen, getting it down the field, and then getting it into the end zone as the extra point is good. That makes a score Western Kentucky 17, Eastern Kentucky 7. Colonels looking to come back in this one. Look at that snag.
And that's what happens when you play true freshmen. Sometimes they get a little bit out of position, but now we finally see the offense with some pressure.
And we're going to take a break here on Flow Sports. We'll be right back. Colonels answer the call to start the 3rd quarter. Big passing play to Ryan Marcouche, set it up. And then a corner pass to Marcouche made it happen. And Colonels on the board, trying for the onside kick here, much like they did at the start of the game. Hilltoppers fall on top of it, great field position.
I'm just not a big fan of that call, Joe. The EKU defense has done some good things against the Hilltopper offense. You saw the last possession they had, they were unable to put some points on the board before the end of the first half. So you're really limiting yourself and giving the Hilltoppers such a great start at fielding position. But that last drive for EKU, 73 yards in 6 plays. They burned the secondary twice for the Hilltoppers, and EKU, showing a little bit of life. The battle of the bluegrass is really going to take an effect here.
Yeah, those 73 yards almost matching their entirety of offense, yardage-wise, that they had in the first half. And we'll see how the Hilltoppers respond. 12:19 left here in the third. 17-7 your score. Western Kentucky on top, and they have the ball. White handing it off to Furby. Going to try to run up the middle, and he'll gain a few yards, getting across the 50 into Colonel territory to the 49.
The third time we've seen that exact play called. Lucky Jackson lining up in that fullback slot, goes out wide in the motion, and then a run up the middle. So we're seeing the quirks that Mike Sanford Jr. has started to add to his offense.
Make it 2nd and 7. Ball on the 49-yard line. Offset I formation. Furby has the deep back. Receiver on each side. Here comes the snap. Fakes the handoff, and White having to scramble. He has got to shake a tackle, but he's not able to. Big time sack by the Colonel defense. I think that was Aaron Patrick, who we mentioned in the pregame being a big part of this defense where Patrick was chasing down. That tackle was actually made.
Oh, it was Patrick. He was the one that got in there first, I believe.
Yeah, Taquan Evans in there as well.
Jimmy Sims just got beat on that play. The play action, Mike White was backing up so far that Sims could not beat Patrick to the end. And again, Mike White not being protected very well.
3rd and 18. Ball on the 40. Back on the Hilltopper side of the field. White dropping back, looking to throw. Now steps into the pocket. Flies left side. Caught by Lucky Jackson across the Colonel 40. And that is enough for a Western Kentucky first down. You can see the words being exchanged there as well between receiver and defender. You can tell these two teams really going at it here.
And Lucky Jackson quickly becoming the #1 target for Mike White. And his ability to make men miss after the catch is pretty special.
And Jackson had 123 yards receiving in the first half and the touchdown for Western Kentucky. Handoff to Furby, trying to spin ahead, pick up about a yard. Moving inside the 40.
Western Kentucky methodical at times with their play calling. A run on first down, a play action on second, and then a deep pass on third. And let's see if we see the same thing.
Picked up a couple on the carry. 2nd and 8, ball on the 37-yard line. Two receivers on the right-hand side. Two running backs in the backfield as well with White. Here comes the snap, and White dropping back, looking to throw, going to the right side, looking sideline, and it is deflected, incomplete. Colonels almost had themselves another turnover there. Almost had that picked off, but couldn't take it away from Lucky Jackson.
As a senior corner, Nigel Bethel, the second, who was able to recover after the quick step by Lucky Jackson. A good play by the senior defenseman.
So that'll bring up 3rd down, 3rd and 8. Again, we look at that last play, and Bethel right on it.
Could have been
Knocked it
picked
away.
easily.
Yeah. 3rd and 8, ball on the 37. Darius Fant in motion. He'll be the slot receiver.
Tried to draw him off sides, now changing the play.
3 seconds left on the play clock here. They get the play off in time. White looking up the middle. Catch made by Jernigan. Actually, that's Yelder. Excuse me. Yelder, the tight end, making the catch. And I think it's going to be just shy.
It will. It's decision time now for the Hilltoppers. Do they try a long field goal or go for it here on 4th down? I would say go for it.
Again, ball's on the 32, so that would equal out to be about a 49-yard attempt. Should they go for the field goal, but it looks like the offense is staying on the field. Jernigan coming in as a receiver on the far left side. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. It's 4th and 3. Here comes the snap. White dropping back, looking to throw. Up the middle, caught by Fant, has the first down. Looking for more, diving ahead to the 20-yard line. And the Toppers move the chains again.
You got a quarterback named 2017 Conference USA preseason Offensive Player of the Year. You got a senior receiver that has some of the surest hands on the team. Why not go for it on 4th down? Try to continue to beat your opponent instead of matching them with a field goal.
Again, running the play across the flat. Fant getting the first down. It'll be 1st and 10. Ball on the 20. Two receivers on each side. Yelder going in motion to overload the right side. Here comes the snap. White looking towards that right side. Looking end zone for Jackson. Incomplete. Flag coming in at the end of the play. Some contact there between the defender and the receiver. Bethel on the coverage on Jackson.
A lot of contact on that play. We saw two defenders run into each other as well.
Officials talk it over here.
3 penalties for 35 yards. EKU in the first half, only 1 for 5 yards for Western Kentucky. So pretty disciplined in the first half.
Yeah, pretty clean game for the most part. Again, we had the delay of game. You had a roughing the passer against Eastern Kentucky. Now you have a pass interference against the Colonels. And that comes at a bad time for Eastern Kentucky because that's going to get them now up to the 5-yard line. As you look at the replay there, and again, collision before the ball gets there, and you had 3 EKU players kind of hit off each other there.
Somebody wanted to make a hit on that play, I guess, but Mike White doing a good job firing it in there and giving his receiver a chance to get impeded.
Offset I formation. Furby the deep back. Here comes the snap on first down. Furby going to run in between the tackles. Bounces off to the right side. He's in. Touchdown, Western Kentucky. A run by DeAndre Furby. His second touchdown of the day.
Really nice response by the Hilltoppers offense. If EKU could have gotten a defensive stop, then right back in that game with a chance to really scare some Hilltopper fans. And I think everybody in the stadium knew that was going to be a run to DeAndre Furby, but he was strong enough and the offensive line got a good enough push to get him into the end zone.
So Nuss on for the extra point. The kick is away, and the kick is good. So the extra point goes through, makes the score Western Kentucky 24, Eastern Kentucky 7. As the Hilltoppers answer EKU, and where in the first half, both teams came up empty-handed on their first drives. In the second half, both teams score on their opening drives of the half.
Yeah, I think they've gotten a little bit more settled in. They know what they're doing, and EKU's first points of the night, that was a very good drive by them. They needed their defense to make a stand.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back with more WKU versus EKU here on Flow Sports.
Bounces off to the right side. He's in. Touchdown, Western Kentucky.
And we're back here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Hilltoppers answering the call after Eastern Kentucky gets a touchdown to start the second half. The Hilltoppers punch it in from a few yards out. DeAndre Furby putting it through, and it's WKU leading 24-7 here in the Battle of the Bluegrass. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports. The kickoff going to be returned from the end zone here. It's going to be right around the 20. Well, fighting through that initial hit, and we'll move it up to about the 24-yard line.
Can't understate this. That was a big drive by the Hilltopper offense. EKU could have easily gotten the stop and then really been in this, what was it, a 10-point game?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10-point game, 17-7. But the offense really responded. They got a pass interference call near the goal line, and the rushing attack was finally able to gain some traction. So a good response by the Hilltopper offense, and now it's time for the EKU offense to do the same.
And EKU, a huge passing play, set them up quite nicely. 73-yard drive to start off the half, which almost matched their 86 yards or so of offense in the first half. We'll see what Boyle and company do here for the Colonels. 2 receivers on the right side as a receiver from the right moves over to the left. Here comes the snap, looking for the quick completion, and they'll get it up to the 29-yard line.
You know, we have seen them do that all game, really. And the positive traction they've been able to get, it's been quick, short passes or something like a screenplay.
Catch made by the tight end, Paul. He'll make his way off the field. It will be 2nd and 4. Ball on the 30-yard line. 2 receivers over on the right-hand side. Got one to the left. Receiver from the left going in motion. Here comes a snap, and they'll pass it off to him as well. That's Marcouche on the reception. Moving up to the 32, trying to advance it up to the 35, right at the first down marker. Probably going to be enough to move the chains for Marcouche.
Yeah, a good play call. Marcouche getting it in the hands of somebody in space that's explosive, who had a touchdown earlier in this game, and they're able to move the chains.
So that's 2 plays now where they've put a receiver in motion and then have gone to that receiver to start off this drive.
You can see the game plan. This is something they do in practice all the time. Could be the next play is a plan that they've worked on in practice.
Boyle under center, takes a snap, now going to roll out to his left, throwing on the run, looking deep, and that is going to be incomplete. And looking for the deep targets, and Jalen Carter.
And again, the true freshman, Roger Cray, in coverage, but he has to be careful. He has to start looking back for the ball. He never turned his head until the very end once the ball was incomplete. He could be called on pass interference if that ball was a little bit underthrown and the receiver tried to come back to it.
2nd and 10. Ball on the 34-yard line. 6:58 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Boyle in the gun. Sends his running back over to the left. Here comes a snap, quick throw, and that is incomplete. And they're looking for the quick slant, or at least the receiver was going on the quick slant, but the pass wide to the outside.
Mike Sanford showing a little bit of athleticism on the sideline too, picking that ball up off the turf.
And that'll bring up 3rd and 10. Ball on the 34-yard line. Western Kentucky, and the defense, which has been so strong in the first half, looking to step up here after allowing a touchdown on the first drive of the 3rd quarter. Boyle stepping back into the gun. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to the right. Here comes the snap. Boyle looking to throw, looking deep, and he'll go towards the middle, and it's caught for a first down. And again, Marcouche with the catch for the Colonels.
And that time the EKU offensive line won the battle. Western had a bit of a delayed blitz there, trying to put some pressure on Boyle, and he had all day to step into the pocket and throw. And again, his favorite target, it seems like.
Yeah, Marcouche setting himself up nicely here in this 3rd quarter. He'll remain out there this time, setting up as a receiver. Over on the far left side, 1st and 10, ball on the Hilltopper 49-yard line. Boyle steps in under center, takes a snap, dropping back and looking to throw again, looking deep for Marcouche. He was lined up against Cray, and it's going to be incomplete. Looks like Boyle may have been hit as he threw that one. And the pass hits the turf.
That was contact well past the initial line of scrimmage and the 5 yards that you are allowed to have. You're really lucky that's not a pass interference call on the defense. They're picking on this freshman a little bit. Cray is the one that gave up the touchdown, also the one with that deep pass, and that one very well could have been a big play for EKU because of that toucher.
Yeah, pretty fortunate there not to get the penalty for Western Kentucky. 24-7, still the score. 2nd and 10, ball on the 49. Here comes a snap. They'll run it up to the right-hand side. Nice pickup of some yards there. Carry by Jason Lewis. 6'3", redshirt sophomore from Virginia Beach.
Number 25, Messiah White, a linebacker for the Hilltoppers. Haven't really seen him make a big play yet. Sanford, when the Hilltoppers asked if a player is going to really make some plays this year that we don't know, who is it going to be? Messiah White was named. Let's look for him here on this big 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5, ball on the 44-yard line on the WKU side of the field. 2 receivers to the left. Here comes the snap. They're going to the right. And going to be right at the first down marker, knocked out of bounds. Lewis on the carry. It'll be another first down for EKU.
How about that, 3rd and medium, and they run the ball, and they're able to get the first down. The Hilltoppers blitz up the middle, and a little stretch play to the right side, and keeping his balance through a tackle gets the first down.
1st and 10, ball on the Western 37-yard line. Colonels taking their time driving down the field this time, as opposed to the big home run play that we saw on the first drive of the period. 5 minutes remaining in the third. Boyle takes a snap from center, rolling out towards his right. Goes towards the sideline, and that's a pretty nice snag right there on the marker. The catch made by Nico Creamer.
The play action really getting this WKU defense fits. Just enough running to be able to get the linebackers to come up, and you saw the catch on the sideline, but he had 2-3 other receivers open on that play.
Yeah, Creamer just sitting right on the sideline, just made the catch and fell over out of bounds. Another first down for Eastern Kentucky. 4:30 on the clock. So we'll set up a 1st and 10 on the 23. 2 receivers to the left. Comes the receiver in motion, looking up the right-hand side, and that is looking for the running back Scott, but it falls incomplete.
And the safety, Devin Key, a redshirt freshman, kind of got turned around there. If that ball was just a little bit more to the right, it could have hit that wheel route, but Western Kentucky has done it before in this game, had a stop on 4th and 1 around the same area in the first half. EKU not going away in this one.
Boyle steps back into the gun. 3 receivers bunched over on the left-hand side. Here comes the snap, quick screen play, and it's caught by Marcouche, and he's back at the first down marker. Moving the chains again for Eastern Kentucky, this time inside the red zone, up to the 11-yard line.
Joe, they're going to do that all day if you only line up 1 cornerback in front of 3 receivers at the line of scrimmage. They will pick you apart with these short passing if you are not going to come to this line of scrimmage and play some man-to-man bump up in your face defense.
Oh, you got it. Good.
Colonel's making a solid drive down the field here. It's their second drive of the quarter. They scored on their first one. Looking to do so again here. It's 1st and 10 on the 11. Marcouche steps inside. Now here comes the snap, and they'll hand it off to Lewis, running over the left side, picking up a few yards on the carry.
They're finding holes, Joe. This offensive line is starting to make a push against the defensive line. And correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like EKU's defense has gotten much more pressure on the quarterback than Western Kentucky.
Here as of late, you're exactly right. And the Colonels, again, plenty of time in the backfield, some gaps to run through as well. They've looked really strong here on this drive. It's now 2nd and 4 with the ball on the 5-yard line. 2 receivers on the right side. Here comes a snap, and they're going to hand it off, and in the backfield, brought down for a loss. Carry by Jason Lewis.
LaVerick Johnson finally making a play in that nickelback spot.
A loss of 5 on the play, so make it 3rd and 9. Again, it's not a 3rd and goal. They can still get down to the 1-yard line and pick up a first down. 2:30 remaining here in the third. This quarter kind of going by quickly as well.
Yeah, a lot of running.
Receiver on each side, 2 receivers now on the left. Here comes a snap, and Boyle looking to throw, going to his left, and it is caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky, and the Colonels. Chance to make this a 10-point game once again.
No pressure on Boyle on that one. He had all day to throw, and if you're going to let a senior quarterback, a Division I quarterback at UConn, allowing that much time, he is going to pick you apart. The coverage wasn't that bad. You just have a receiver that is playing very well right now and in sync with his quarterback.
Marcouche, his 2nd touchdown reception of the day. Coming from Maryland, the senior, having a big game here today, and that kick is up, and it gets kicked over the berm here at Western Kentucky. It is good, so that makes the score Eastern Kentucky 14, Western Kentucky 24, and the Colonels not backing down from the Hilltoppers. And we'll go ahead and take ourselves a quick break. Eastern Kentucky driving down the field, slow and steady, won the race that time, and the Colonels punching in with another pass to Marcouche 14-24 your score. Colonels closing the gap here, and they'll kick it off again. And this time it's not an onside kick, but it is a short kick. They have obviously seen something from the Hilltopper special teams. They do not want to kick it deep and give them the chance to make the return, because they've had 3 kickoffs. 2 have been onside. That one just a short kick, and the Hilltoppers will take over at the 42.
Well, they figure Kylan Towner, the deep man for Western Kentucky, set an FBS single-season record for kickoff return average last year with 40.3.
I mean,
so a good reason.
It's a good reason not to kick to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I don't like the pooch kick that really didn't give him a chance to get the ball either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of pick your poison there. But the top's not able to get it.
And we're going to go to a quick break here on Flow Sports. Western Kentucky going to take over here on the 42-yard line after the kickoff. Eastern Kentucky with the last touchdown, a touchdown pass from Tim Doyle to Ryan Marcouche. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports. Glad you could join us this evening for the Battle of the Bluegrass. Here comes a snap, 1st and 10. Handoff up the middle, Marquez Trigg on the carry. Gets almost 10 yards on the rush.
That's the change of pace that we've talked about a little bit. And that last drive for EKU, 14 plays, 76 yards, 6 minutes and 19 seconds. A very methodical drive. But that pooch kick that they have give the Hilltoppers good field position and a chance to put some more points on the board.
They give Trigg 9, so it'll be 2nd and 1. Ball on the 49-yard line on the Colonel side of the field. Hand off to Trigg again, this time running up the right side. Has the first down and a whole lot more down to the 38-yard line. 11-yard gain on the carry by Trigg.
Look at the Hilltoppers staying patient with the running game. Had 21 attempts for 40 yards at halftime, but continuing to pound the rock.
Trigg makes his way towards the outside there. Towards the end of the run, looked like there may be an injury with the Colonels. So trainers taking a look at him right now. We're taking a look at the Western Kentucky huddle.
Can't quite make out who it is that is injured, but if you're EKU, you have to be happy with the position that you're in right now after going into halftime trailing 17-0.
It looks like it may be
Nigel Bethel.
Yeah, I think it's Nigel Bethel.
Working out that leg.
Yeah, they may be working out both of them there.
Slow down this game a little bit more.
Yep, minute 31 remaining here in the third. And he is up. And yeah, that is Nigel Bethel, the defensive back.
And that's a guy that's made a few plays in this game as well. So let's see if the Hilltoppers recognize that the defensive backs are down a man and go with a deep pass coming out of this little break. That's the kind of things that Jeff Brom with the Hilltoppers would do. Kind of a master play call, and you're seeing that with him now in Purdue as they had a 14-10 lead over Louisville currently. But this is where the kind of the nitpicking that you can do with play calling in offenses here. And let's see if they stick with the run, trying to be patient, or if they go to their quarterback who's on all the 2017 watch lists this year.
White in the gun, 3 receivers over on the left-hand side. Yelder going in motion. He'll line up as a tight end on the left side as well. 1st and 10 on the 38. Here comes the snap. The handoff to Trigg again, running up the right side. He's picked up some good yardage so far on this drive. They keep things going. Flags coming out at the end of the play. Getting some extracurriculars here between the Colonels and the Hilltoppers.
Man, it's only taken to the third quarter, Joe. Battle of the Bluegrass. A little surprised we haven't seen a little bit more of this.
It's like I think we've seen where maybe words have been exchanged. You see maybe an extra shove or something at the end. This is the first time that we're seeing really anything that would merit a flag, obviously. Again, we mentioned a few moments ago that, first half was pretty clean. Only a few penalties on EKU, one against Western in the first half. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Western Kentucky.
.64, is that what he said?
Believe so.
So Dennis Edwards, the center.
And it happened at the end of the play, which means it would remain second down. It would become second down. They don't replay it.
Edwards started all 14 games at right guard for the Hilltoppers last season, moving over to center after Max Halpin departed.
Two receivers on each side for White in the gun. Minute left here in the third quarter. Here comes a snap. White dropping back, looking to throw, looking right up the middle. Catch made by Jernigan, and he'll get up to the 41-yard line.
We've seen him with a few flashes in this game, and Joe, I thought he was going to pitch this ball, a little old-fashioned hook and ladder here as he was going across, and the man right there, number 5, could have went to the right side, but Jernigan still getting some solid yards.
Yeah, cut to the inside, and another Colonel down on the field. So slowing this game down yet again as can't quite make out who the player is on the field right now. Trainer's taking a look at him. 35 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Looks like that might have been Cornelius Floyd, a senior defensive back for the Colonels. Back on his feet there. Will make his way towards the sideline. Meanwhile, it will be 3rd and 13 for Western Kentucky.
All the attention on Mike White for the Hilltoppers, and it deservedly show. He had a great season last year, but Sanford had a chance to talk about him and how he compared to Deshaun Keisner, who just won the starting job with the Browns and who Mike Sanford worked with as an offensive coordinator for Notre Dame, and said they kind of have the same intellect. They want to know the reasons why you do something and why you run a play call instead of just doing it. And also the same kind of size. Mike White, a big guy, 6'4", 225 pounds, definitely looking to continue to progress and get to that next level.
3 receivers on the left-hand side, 1 to the right. Again, 3rd and 13 as White steps in, looking to throw up the middle. Catch is made, and it's going to be awfully close there to the 28-yard line. Depends on where they give him forward progress, and the official over here, the line judge, is putting it right at the 28, and it is another first down for Western Kentucky.
And that ball was tipped, Joe. Tipped by the linebacker here in the middle. Still able to have the concentration to make that grab.
Yeah, Yelder with the catch for Western Kentucky, the tight end, making some good catches. Yelder stepped in pretty nicely at tight end, and that is the end of the third quarter. We'll take a break and be right back here on Flow Sports. Fourth quarter about to get underway here in the Battle of the Bluegrass. It's going to be a tight one here. Eastern Kentucky scoring twice in the third quarter. 24-14, Western Kentucky with the advantage, and they have the ball right now. 1st and 10. Ball on the EKU 27-yard line. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports, and here comes the snap. White looking to throw, and it's too high and incomplete.
A little finish to the play there by the defensive back, and the referee had to separate the two, but I've been real impressed by EKU and how they've responded in this second half, scoring twice, winning that third quarter, really. But on the flip side, Western starting to do the same thing with their offense. When EKU goes down the field and scores after a long drive, Western Kentucky doing the same, going down the field and not letting them get the best of them.
2nd and 10. Ball on the 27. Here comes a snap. Handing it off to Trigg. And been interesting having Trigg getting the bulk of the carries here as of late. He's picking up good chunks of yards as he goes.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit more burst than Furby does in that hole until the linebacker meets him initially. And he was flipped on that last play.
Trigg entered the fourth quarter with 42 yards rushing, and most of that coming in that third quarter. Again, all the drives in this half so far have ended in, well, Western Kentucky scored on one drive. EKU scored on 2 of their drives.
Yeah, you're right.
Western Kentucky driving here. 3rd and 7. Ball on the 24. Here comes a snap. White dropping back, looking to throw, looks up the middle. Catch made by Yelder, and he's going to be short of the first down. Getting down to the 19-yard line. It'll be 4th and 2. They pick up 5 on the play.
And now you have the decision to keep it a 2-possession game and go for the field goal, or to go for it again like they did on their last drive in the third quarter.
And it looks like the offense is going to stay out there for Western Kentucky. Fant not out there for the Hilltoppers. He made the catch on the last 4th down. Here comes a snap. They're going to hand, they're going to hand off to Trigg up the middle, picks up the first down, and a couple yards more, getting inside the 15.
And Joe, I love the decision to go for it on 4th down. Even if they didn't get it, I would say the same exact thing, because you're only making it 13-point game instead of 10, so only a 2-possession, and you want to finish these drives.
3 receivers bunched on the left-hand side. 1st and 10, ball on the 13. They'll hand it off again, rushing over to the right-hand side. Trigg, no gain on the play, brought down at the 15.
Now, we were looking at the stats after the third quarter, and they're pretty similar in a lot of categories, but there's a few that Western edges out. Total offense, 324 to 205. You have rushing, which Western has a 60-yard advantage because EKU only has 5 yards on the ground today.
Mike White, as you just saw, 259 yards passing through 3 quarters today. Here comes the snap. White looking for more, and it goes through the hands of Lucky Jackson, incomplete.
And fans and Lucky looking for an intentional roughing call, as the EKU defender was able to get his hand on his helmet and bring him towards the ground, as we'll see on the replay here. But kind of just looked like a good football play.
You wonder with the hands on the helmet.
Yeah.
That's where fans are going to be making the noise, is because making contact with the helmet always make people react in such a way. But really, it's the quarterback that you watch a lot when it comes to hits to the helmet.
Yeah, see if they would have called that one in the 60s and 70s when this was the rivalry every single season.
Here comes the snap, handoff to Trigg, running up the middle, gets inside the 5 on 3rd down, and he's right there at the first down marker again. Marquez Trigg.
Yeah, he's looked really nice in this second half, and he had a 39-yard gain earlier. So Marquez Trigg being that change of pace that Western needs. They get Quentin Baker back next week as they go to Illinois and face former NFL head coach Lovie Smith.
And another first down for the Hilltoppers. It's now 1st and goal. Trigg, 42 yards heading into this quarter. He's added to that already, and he'll look to add to it here. Stood up at the line, nothing there. 12 minutes remaining in this one. Western Kentucky leading by 10 and looking to add to that total on this drive.
Joe, it's only 8:35 Central Time. I mean, this has been a pretty quick game, and the Hilltoppers continuing to run the clock and doing it at 4 downs every single first down set. So they're really doing a good job here, and if they could punch it in, then it could really be a backbreaker.
2nd and goal, ball on the 2-yard line. Trigg, the running back, in the backfield. 3 receivers on the left now. They'll bring some guys in and kind of pack this in at the line of scrimmage. Here comes the snap. Hand off to Trigg again, running up the middle, bounces off a defender. He picked up a yard, but he's going to get stuffed. And an Eastern player continued with the tackle even through the whistle, and that's got some fans upset.
And welcome back, Battle of the Bluegrass rivalry here. If anything, that would have been the flag I would have thrown after that, well after the whistle had been blown, thrown to the ground.
Trigg again bouncing off his lineman there, and then.
So look, the play's over here.
Yeah.
Whistle has been blown.
And a pick up and slam down by the defense.
And I don't blame the Hilltoppers for getting in his face to protect him, their running back.
That was Aaron Patrick, the defensive lineman, getting a lot of attention for the Colonels this year. 3rd and 1. Here comes a snap. Handoff again. They're trying again on the goal line with the run by Trigg. And he is short once again.
So 3 straight plays with runs up the middle with your smaller back instead of DeAndre Furby.
And so that'll bring up 4th down. Fans starting to get on their feet for Western Kentucky here, making some noise as the offense is going to stay out there on the field here. They're going for it, Billy.
Yeah, only 15 seconds on the play clock. I think they keep it on the ground. You know, I think that they're determined to power it in, and that's the offense that Mike Sanford wants to install here at Western Kentucky.
5 seconds on the play clock. It's running close here. They do get it off in time. Trigg up the gut, and he is in. Touchdown, Western Kentucky. They let the young man finish the drive, and he punches it in for 6.
He earned it. It was all him that drive. He got a long 4th down with the rush, and how about the Hilltoppers going for it on 4th down once again? They are not playing scared. They're playing to win this game, Joe. And with that, if they can get this extra point, then it could be really in their hands at this point.
Extra point pending here. 30-14 your score. Here comes the snap. The kick is up. And the kick is good. So that makes the score Western Kentucky 31, Eastern Kentucky 14, 9:42 remaining. And the touchdown run by Trigg builds on the top of the lead. Watching EKU versus WKU on Flow Sports. We're back. Western Kentucky on a lengthy drive punches it in with Marquez Trigg, and the Hilltoppers stretched out their lead once again. 31-14 the score over Eastern Kentucky. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you on Flow Sports, and kickoff will go kind of about the 5-yard line. Have a return from the Colonels past the 25 and actually get up to the 30, which is where the Colonels will take over. And again, the trend continues here in this half. Touchdowns on every drive so far.
Yeah, and a heck of a response by the Hilltoppers after EKU went 14 plays, 76 yards in over 6 minutes. Hilltoppers go 16 plays, 58 yards in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Nothing like we've seen in Hilltopper offenses in the past 5 years. Really the exact opposite, but still getting it done.
In 31-14 the score here, as Western Kentucky will now have the defense to try to come out and make a stop, which is something that we haven't seen. But let's take a look now at the Hilltopper schedule coming up here. Hitting the road to take on Illinois next week. That's going to be a big matchup. Louisiana Tech also going to be a big one. It means a lot in conference play as well. And then you've got Ball State, some other key ones. Charlotte, keep that one on your calendar. We'll have that one here on Flow Sports as well. And that's homecoming for Western Kentucky. Vanderbilt at Vandy, always a fun one there. And then, of course, Middle Tennessee, big rivalry matchup towards the end of the season.
Yeah, the stretch in November of 3 games, or the first 3 games in November, is what I'm looking at Vanderbilt, at Marshall, and then MTSU at home. Vanderbilt's a team you lost to at home last year, but it's been a very highly competitive series. And then Marshall, you know, the Moonshine Throwdown, one of the bigger rivals for Western Kentucky. And then the biggest rival, you could say, currently for the Hilltoppers is MTSU. And you have to remember that game last year, the blocked extra points in overtime and barely getting that victory. So that is going to be a very tough stretch for the Hilltoppers, but I could see them going into that stretch with really 1 loss maybe. Maybe not even 1.
Maybe not even. I think next week at Illinois is a big one, obviously, because it's you step into the Big Ten, and you see how you do with that. I mean, they've played a couple of games against some Big Ten opponents. I believe they played Illinois before. They played Indiana a couple times. Haven't been able to get that win against the Big Ten. Could they get it this year? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, going on the road. See if they can be road warriors.
9:35 remaining in this one. Still a lot of football to go here. 31-14. Your score is the Colonels back to the action here. And they've scored on their last 2 drives. Looking to do it again here. And this pass completes. Looking up the field to Nico Creamer, and he keeps on running up the left-hand side up towards the 49-yard line. Big gain for the Colonels to get this drive started.
Interesting to see a receiver besides Markush get a catch here in the second half. But he had some nice balance, stayed on his feet after the spin.
Creamer on the left side again. This time they're going to run it. Going up the left side. Getting across the 50 into Hilltopper territory to carry by L.J. Scott. Moves it to the WKU 45-yard line, 6-yard gain.
Yeah, they've done a much better job moving this ball against the WKU defense in the second half.
2 receivers over the right-hand side. Here comes the snap. Boyle, quick screen pass, and he's met right away by Joel E.A. Unibank.
Yeah, great play there by Iggy. He was able to shed his block and make the tackle before it became a pretty big gain because he had some room up the middle.
That'll make it 3rd and 6. Loss of 2 on the play. E.A. Boonaway on the big tackle there. 3rd and 6. Ball on the 47. 2 receivers on the right side, 1 to the left. Here comes the snap, and the snap botched a little bit, but able to recover. Pass going to be too high and incomplete.
Yeah, not the best play there for EKU.
Yeah, looking for the tight end, Dan Paul. That'll bring up 4th down.
And you got to go for it here. You're down 3 possessions. You're at midfield. You would be playing losing football if you were to punt it here. Look for a quick pass. We saw them pick up a lot of yardage with what's given to them, but it seems like the Hilltoppers are going to come up to the line of scrimmage.
2 receivers on the left side, 1 to the right. And looks like we're going to have a timeout here on the field.
Western Kentucky. Not the worst decision. If they get this stop, then they can really get their winning percentage up.
So it'll be 4th and 6 after this timeout. Again, the play clock was running down. It was in the final seconds before that timeout came in. It's a big play for Eastern Kentucky coming up here. And as they get ready for that, let's take a look at the Colonel schedule coming up. Of course, here at Western Kentucky at 9, you've got at Kentucky and Kroger Field. They've made some renovations to that place. Should be a great game out there at Kentucky. And then you hit the conference schedule with Tennessee Tech, Southeast Missouri, Tennessee State. On the road to Jacksonville State, home to UT Martin, at Murray State, at Eastern Illinois, then Austin Peay, and close out with St. Francis.
Really tough stretch there for EKU. You have Tennessee State, Jacksonville State, and UT Martin. When EKU faced them in 2016, all 3 of them were in the national poll or at some point receiving votes to get into the national poll for the FCS. So there's a tough stretch there for Eastern Kentucky. They play at Murray State, another rivalry game, and then Austin Peay, a team that they demolished last season, scoring over 60 points. I like the first 2, Western Kentucky and at Kentucky. You're not afraid to go on the road and play these bigger programs, and Hilltoppers were in the same situation a few years ago, making that transition into the FBS, and Eastern just kind of following suit.
And that game next week will be on the SEC network. So getting themselves on, on a TV for a big game like that, it's certainly a way to get more eyes on the program, and that's something that Coach Elder has really focused on by getting big recruiting classes for Eastern Kentucky, being in the top 25 in FCS, both off seasons that he's been with the program.
You're exactly right. We're going to have new facilities. We're going to have televised games. Your parents are going to be able to see you on TV, and you can start. That's what kind of, when you see these transfers, like a Boyle and the running back L.J. Scott from Louisville, that's the appeal that these guys are seeing when transferring to a school like EKU.
8:11 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Big play coming up for the Colonels. It's 4th and 6. They need to get this first down here, or it's going to get pretty dire for them in this contest. And they have all of their timeouts remaining. Western Kentucky just used one, so they've got 2 remaining. And looks like we've got some movement here.
And hard count. Looked like it was number 56 that moved for the Hilltoppers, Evan Sainer.
And so that will set up a 4th and 1 situation.
If that's the call.
If that's the call. So we'll wait for the official call.
And Sainer, 300 pounds, 6'3" junior out of Paducah, Kentucky.
It is offsides on the defense.
A few extra wind sprints for him in practice next week. And now you got to think if that changes the play call. If you're EKU, you can run it now on 4th and a yard instead of having to do a quick throw on 4th and 6.
So 4th and 1 now, ball on the 42-yard line. Here comes a snap, and looks like they're going to run it up the middle, picking up the first down, and the Colonels stay on the field, getting inside the 40.
Hilltoppers shot themselves in the foot there, that's for sure. Wasting a timeout and the penalty right after.
2 receivers going to line up to the outside on the right. Got Creamer as a receiver on the left. Boyle in the gun. 1st and 10 on the 39-yard line. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back. Looking towards the middle, then goes to the outside. Through the hands of Creamer, incomplete. Had his receiver to the outside.
EKU has been able to find some soft spots in this defensive coverage for Western Kentucky. And, you know, Tim Boyle hasn't been the worst in this game. We've seen him air out the ball. We've seen him get high percentage of completions. By the end of the third quarter, Boyle was 17 for 24 with 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. So not the worst performance by him.
2nd and 10, ball on the 39-yard line. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to the left again for Creamer. This time, Creamer reels it in, and he'll be brought down at the 27.
Joe, I think that was the same route.
Yeah.
Same play. EKU, I mean, if it's open, you go ahead and do it.
Certainly the same formation. They'll give him up to the 26, which is another first down for Eastern Kentucky. 1st and 10, ball on the WKU 26-yard line.
These long drives in the second half.
Boyle in the gun, same formation. Here comes a snap. Dropping back, looking to throw, this time looking to his right to a receiver in the flat. That's the tight end. And Dan Paul making the catch. Gets up to the 21-yard line.
And a nice tackle there. I believe that was Drell Green. Came up and wrapped him up. You're not going anywhere.
Just an open field tackle there. 2nd and 5, ball on the 21-yard line. Get 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Lined up on the right hash mark this time. Brought a blitz. They were able to pick up on it and get the pass off to the running back, Scott. Picks up another first down for the Colonels.
Finally some pressure against EKU, but you know, fortunately for them, they had a nice little quick out to throw it. Western hasn't seen a lot of blitzes today from their defense or pressure in general.
Another first down for the Colonels. The ball on the 10-yard line. So it's 1st and goal for EKU. 6:12 remaining in this one. Here comes the snap. Quick pass. Catch made by Marcouche, looking for his 3rd touchdown. Flag on the play. Ball's loose. Ball's loose, and they dive on it to get in. There is a flag on the play. The officials waving everything off here.
And wide receiver screen. You could see a holding or bring this one back, possibly. You don't see the EKU players coming towards the sideline yet.
Wait for the official call here. Get 6 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. It's a chop block on the offense.
That's tough. You've been on this long drive. You finally punch it into the end zone, and you have something that takes it all the way back.
Yeah, that one hurts. As not only were they close with that fumble and the recovery, they were, I mean, right there on the line. Maybe even would have scored on that play. But instead, the chop block brings it back to the 25-yard line. First and goal, back to the 25. Same formation. It's been pretty effective for this drive. Two receivers on the left side, or on the right side, one to the left. This time a receiver going in motion. They fake the handoff. Now the pass is incomplete, short of his intended target.
Poor throw there by Boyle, but it seems like every time he's going back to pass, he's finding these holes in the coverage. Western Kentucky seems, at least in this second half, to have kind of be on their heels at times.
Looking for Jalen Carter. Hasn't quite been able to meet up with Carter yet in this game. Had a couple of attempts. Make it second and goal. Ball on the 25-yard line. 5:56 left here in the fourth. Two receivers to the left. One to the right. Here comes the snap. Boyle looking to his right. Now goes left. And it's going to be knocked down, incomplete.
DeAndre Farish, a redshirt junior there with the defense, one of the more experienced guys in the secondary.
Matt Clark, the intended target. And they'll make it third down. Of course, the Colonels looking to be in four-down territory, you'd imagine.
Well, I guess. I mean, it is a three-possession game.
Three-possession, one of those could be a field goal. He could take that one if they
could take the points.
Then
onside kick immediately after that.
Here comes the snap. Here comes the throw, and a little short pass to the tight end. And Dan Paul on the reception and will not score, so that'll bring up fourth down. And looks like they are going to bring out the kick squad here and take the points, or at least try to.
So it could be the first drive in this second half that did not result in 6.
And the first time we've seen Williams come out looking for a field goal. This is the first field goal attempt for Eastern Kentucky today. Looking to make this a 2-score game. This would be a 30-yard attempt. And here comes the kick. It's got the distance for sure, and it's got the accuracy. Field goal is good. And that makes it a little bit closer. Eastern Kentucky 17, Western Kentucky 31, 5:03 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Watching college football on Flow Sports. We'll be right back. Eastern Kentucky driving down the field, settling for a field goal, but draw it a little bit closer now to a 2-score game. Western Kentucky leading 31-17 here on Flow Sports. Joe Brunk, Billy Rutledge here with you. Got 5 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. We'll see EKU attempt another onside kick here, and it's going to bounce right to Lucky Jackson, and he will fall on top of it. So Western Kentucky will start on the 46-yard line.
I really haven't seen very good attempts at the onside kick from EKU today, but for the Hilltoppers, scoring drives of play calls of 16, 12, 8, and 16 plays. So we're seeing, they're still putting points up on the board, but you haven't seen the big plays tonight. You saw the Lucky Jackson reception.
Yep.
And can you tell me another one? I guess that's really it, right?
That's pretty much it. As you mentioned, just long, sustained drives. And sometimes that's good. You like to see that from your offense, just to be able to come out and put together those types of drives. Give your defense a spell. Let them rest up a little bit, but it's worked so far. They're up 31-17.
Yeah, and converting on 3rd and 4th down is also key on those, too.
Yeah, 4th downs have been a big plus for the Hilltoppers today, and they'll start this drive off, handing off to DeAndre Furby. Running up the middle, up to the 50-yard line. Gain of 4 on the carry.
And it's good to see Furby out there, a guy that's been banged up with an ankle injury and a shoulder, to be finishing this game tonight instead of letting Trigg go the rest of the way.
A receiver on the left side, another one on the right. Furby still in at the back, with White going to be in the gun.
Oh, they're going to take their time, Joe.
Yeah, they're stretching this out. White in the gun. And here comes a snap. Hand off to Furby again, running up the middle, picking up the first down. Great cut there by Furby to move more towards the inside and get the marker.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Joe. The cut by Furby to stop his momentum and go straight up the middle of the field instead of going left. That was the difference there. And the Hilltoppers pick up another first down, and you got to think EKU has 3 timeouts, but 2 first downs, maybe 3, would seal this one.
So 1st and 10, ball on the Colonel 44-yard line. Jackson going to be a receiver over on the left-hand side, but again, focus is probably going to be running it up the middle here with Furby, the deep back. White under center takes a snap, hands off to Furby, shakes a defender at the line of scrimmage and pick up a couple yards.
Defender looked lost in translation after Furby sidestepped to the left and then went back to the right. And have the first timeout by EKU.
Timeout taken by Eastern Kentucky, of course, their first one. 3:29 remaining here in the 4th quarter. It'll be 2nd and 7 when we come back from the timeout. Western Kentucky seemingly on their way to a victory here. Of course, we'll be moving on to take on Illinois next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a much different atmosphere against a Big Ten team on the road. The Hilltoppers 17-2 at home since 2014, but on the road's a different story, man. You don't have fire alarms going off and 18,000 fans screaming for you. It's a much different environment.
Mike Sanford in his first game with Western Kentucky looks to be on his way to be the 13th Western Kentucky coach to win his debut game. And well, in home debuts since 1957, WKU coaches are 6-2. It could be 7-2 here in just a few minutes. White letting that one fly as he was rushed in the backfield. It will go incomplete. And a flag coming in at the end of the play.
This could be a big flag here because EKU has created themselves an opportunity with that incompletion.
Yep. Stopping the clock with an incomplete pass.
But if this is against EKU and it gives Western a first down, then, that really could give it to Western Kentucky.
The officials talking it over here, making sure they line up everything, and it looks like it's going to be against the Colonels. Nope, no foul. They're pulling it up. They're saying with the quarterback was moving, so it's not roughing the passer, which I think was the penalty that they were looking to call. So that makes it 3rd and 7. Ball on the 41-yard line.
You got to get off the field here if you're the Colonels.
2 receivers on the right-hand side. Now 3 as Dakarius Fant comes onto the field. He'll be in the slot. receiver to the left as well. Here comes the snap. Trigg is the running back in, and he takes the handoff, and he'll be stuffed. It will not be a first down. Fourth down coming up here.
EKU calls the timeout. So they have successfully done their job. They were able to salvage one timeout. And I would assume here, Joe, that Western Kentucky will punt.
And we'll take us a quick break here on Flow Sports. Hilltoppers being forced to punt here. Fourth down coming. 3:14 remaining in the fourth quarter. So the Colonels looking to get another possession here. They'll need some quick offense. They have one timeout, 3 minutes remaining. The punt squad out for Western Kentucky. Back to receive is Daryl McCleskey for the Colonels. He's lined up at the 10. Here comes the snap, punt. Gets away clean. High punt inside the 10 and takes a Hilltopper bounce into the end zone. So it'll be a touchback.
Yeah, not what the Hilltoppers wanted there,
No.
but the Colonels not going away in this one, Joe, and they deserve a chance to try to salvage this game, and they absolutely have one. They have one timeout, 3 minutes, plenty of time in college football where the clock stops after a first down to go down the field, put up a touchdown. I mean, you have to score touchdowns at this point.
Yeah, I mean, in the first drive of this half, Eastern Kentucky, big passing play to start off the whole drive.
Yeah, that was
To Ryan Marcouche.
73 yards in 6 plays.
Yeah.
So another one of those is what Elder is trying to dial up here.
Boyle in the gun. Again, this formation has been very successful. The two receivers over on the right side, one on the left. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw, goes to the right side, looking deep. It's tipped up and it's going to be incomplete. Great coverage there by Western Kentucky.
Yeah, and a good job on the receiver to not allow the defensive back to get an interception there because he had to jump over him to actually deflect it. So in that case, the receiver becomes the defensive back in that situation.
Joe Brown on the coverage for Western Kentucky. Makes it 2nd and 10. Ball on the 20-yard line. Lined up on the left hash mark. Colonels mixing up a little bit. 3 receivers now on the right-hand side. Here comes the snap. Boyle brings it in, looking to throw again to the right side. Now has to tuck it and run. He'll pick up some yardage and slide down at the end of the run, short of the first down marker.
Too many times I've seen a quarterback slide like that and then a player come in and get an unnecessary roughing call or trying to go for a helmet-to-helmet hit. It's a good job by Western there to just let him go down.
Gain of 7 on the play, makes it 3rd and 3, and here comes the snap. They're going to run it up the middle, shake off one tackle right there at the 30-yard line, and he'll fall forward enough. I believe it's going to be a first down for the Colonels.
Meanwhile, they've started to use a lot of clock now. A little bit under a minute has gone off since they started this drive, and they're not, there's only one first down.
Scott on the carry for the first down. 1st and 10 on the 31. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw. Catch made by Creamer, and he'll be brought down at the 43. Another first down for the Colonels.
That same route's been open all second half, Joe.
2 minutes now left in this one. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw, looking deep this time, down the right side and through the hands of Joe Brown, incomplete. They were looking for Marcouche deep, but Brown on the coverage.
Yeah, they had a double team on him, safety help, and Joe Brown really had an opportunity to end the game and was unable to make the play.
1:51 remaining in this one. The clock stops on the incomplete pass. 2nd and 10. Ball on the 43-yard line.
Have yet to use the sideline to their advantage here in this drive.
3 receivers on the right-hand side, 1 to the left. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, has some time up the middle. This time completed to the tight end, Paul, into Hilltopper territory to the 45. 12-yard gain on the play and another first down for EKU.
Impressive there by the offensive line of EKU. The blitz was coming. They picked it up, and they were able to find Paul over the middle.
Same formation, 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, throw again up the middle, incomplete, too high for the tight end, Paul.
I'd say that may be the same play, Joe, except Hilltoppers got some pressure and forced Boyle to throw a little bit high.
Find it very interesting, like you mentioned, Billy, they haven't really gone to the sideline at all on this drive, really staying more towards the middle of the field, even though the clock not their friend right now with minute 27 remaining in this one. Receiver stacked on the right side there. Here comes the snap to Boyle. Looking over towards his right. Going to go with the short pass. And again, staying in the middle of the field. Clock's going to continue to run up to the 40-yard line.
You got to go outside there if you're the EKU tight end there. You could have stopped the clock. Instead, you only gained about 1 or 2 more yards. And now forced into a quick 3rd and 5 situation.
And a timeout going to be taken. Western Kentucky taking that timeout with 1:03 remaining. Going to score 31-17. Western Kentucky looking to be on their way to a win to start off the season before they hit the road to take on Illinois next week. EKU on the road again next week as they will head to Lexington. A little closer drive than the one this week.
And I think this game's a little bit closer than most people thought.
I believe so.
As EKU has really not gone away, and especially in this second half. 17-0 at halftime. Then EKU comes out. They score on their first drive. Only a 2-minute, 39-second drive. And then Hilltoppers answer back. But EKU still not going away. They make it 24-14 before we got another touchdown by the Hilltoppers and a field goal.
You know, and the pacing of this game has just been much different than what I anticipated with just long, stretched-out drives. I really didn't see that coming from either team coming into tonight's game.
I don't think anybody did with the Hilltoppers.
Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw. He's going to go again with a short pass, a forearm, and again trying to stay in bounds. Eventually gets knocked out. Scott with the reception out of the backfield.
Pretty nice stiff arm there to get some extra yardage as well.
Yeah, check out the stiff arm here on the replay. Boom. Stays up and try to pick up a couple extra yards.
The clock's still running.
40 seconds remaining. Boyle steps in, now lets it fly, and that's going to be a catch made. Inside the red zone we go before the whistle stops the play. 30 seconds on the clock.
It really looked like a holding call was missed there as the defensive end on the edge was held, number 57. Yeah, that's a holding call.
But it does not get called, so Western Kentucky trying to shuffle some guys onto the field, and looks like we're going to have a timeout taken by Western Kentucky. They didn't have players out there ready for the play, and so we're taking another timeout for WKU, and that is their last timeout. 24 seconds on the clock. Eastern still hasn't used their timeout.
No,
and they're the ones trying to drive it down the field.
Yeah, I don't understand that. They've used 2 timeouts on this drive to allow EKU to come down, and the other timeout they used in this quarter was on defense as well. So the Hilltoppers maybe having some substitution problems, or maybe even setting up in the right formation defensively, but it's better to get it right than not take the timeout and then just not use it. You know, you have those timeouts for a reason. It just happens to be on the drive where EKU can't stop the clock but one time.
The Colonels, without a timeout, have driven down the field nicely, but they've taken a lot of time off the clock here.
They have to score 2 touchdowns.
Here comes the snap. Boyle looking towards the end zone. Going to let it fly. It's going to be bobbled and dropped. Would have got them inside the 10-yard line. Clock stopped with 18 seconds.
You know, that's probably a good thing for EKU, Joe, because that wouldn't have got them the first down.
They would have had to use that timeout.
Yeah, you would have had to use it, and you're not that much closer. I would say you have to start going towards the end zone now.
Imagine Boyle's going to be looking end zone on the next few plays. 2nd and 10. Boyle gets in the gun. 3 receivers on the left-hand side. Here comes the snap. Boyle dropping back, looking to throw, looks up the middle, incomplete, hitting off the turf. Going behind his intended target of the tight end, Paul.
Yeah, missed throw there by Boyle. We've seen a couple of those. Not too many, but a miss in an important time. And now Western Kentucky with a chance to try to ice this one. It's now 3rd and 10.
14 seconds on the clock. It's 3rd and 10. Same formation, 3 receivers. On the left side, here comes the snap. Boyle looking to his right. Had to be rushed there. He gets the pass off in time. It's going to be hit at the 10, looking to get out of bounds, but not able to do so, and that is going to have the final seconds. Well, no, they're going to use the timeout to stop it. 4 seconds remain, and the Colonels are going to use that last timeout to get one more play before this one ends.
And a heck of a tackle there by Jawan Gardner, the redshirt senior. He saved it from possibly being a touchdown. And is 4 seconds enough time to score a touchdown here, get an onside kick, and then score another touchdown? Probably
You'd imagine no.
No.
You'd imagine no.
But this is a very prideful thing here for EKU to keep it a one-possession game. And this is a big play coming up.
Yeah, I mean, if they can punch this in and turn this into a one-score game at the end, I mean, that's certainly going to go on their, on the record. I mean, they talk certainly about playing close games against opponents from the FBS. They, again, went into overtime with Kentucky not too long ago. And, I mean, they beat Miami of Ohio in 2014. They've had close games against Indiana and Louisville and Kansas State.
You're exactly right, Joe. On their media notes, it highlights close games versus FBS teams. So this is exactly what this is. And 31-24 looks a lot better than 31-17.
Yep, exactly. So they get one more play here. It's 1st and goal. Play is on the 6-yard line. 3 receivers on the right side, 2 to the left, going 5 wide here for Boyle in the gun. Here comes the snap. Boyle looking end zone right side, and it is knocked down, incomplete. And that will do it. The final seconds have ticked off, and Western Kentucky has won the Battle of the Bluegrass, beating EKU 31-17 as the teams make their way towards midfield for the handshake. The Toppers victorious, and we'll step aside for a quick break, and we'll be back in a little bit here on Flow Sports.
The Department of Intercollegiate Athletics and Hilltoppers football, thank you for attending tonight's game. Please drive safely. We'll see you back here September 16th from the top take on Louisiana Tech.
Is this the end?
PM.
I don't even know. I've got stacks and stacks.
This looks like the highlights.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.